Chapter 41, Victory and Hospitalization. Izuku. Todoroki-kun ran into the smoke and saw Izuku half kneeling on the ground in the smoke, with obvious purple marks on his right arm and left foot. Stein, this time, I won. Izuku opened his mouth and spurted out another mouthful of blood. He stood up with a trembling body, looking at Stein, who was already leaning against the wall and unconscious, and he had broken up. The rotten knife that fell. Izuku, are you okay? Todoroki Jiaodong looked at that figure, feeling a little distressed. Big man. Izuku turned his head, opened his mouth first, and finally answered Todoroki in ventriloquism. The two blood marks on the corners of his mouth reminded Todoroki all the time that Izuku is now the condition is very bad. Although there is nothing wrong, you still can't open your mouth to speak, otherwise a mouthful of blood will spurt out and scare Todoroki-kun. As soon as Izuku finished speaking, he walked towards the unconscious Stein with trembling steps. Hero killer Stein, you have violated the Hero Act and the Civil Code and many other crimes, and you are now under arrest. Izuku spoke ventriloquism while taking out a 5 cm thick rope from his belt and pulling Stan because they are tied tightly. Mission accomplished. As soon as Izuku finished speaking, his body suddenly went limp and he was about to collapse. At the moment he was about to fall to the ground, a figure rushed over to catch him, wasn't it? Todoroki-kun is not Ida-kun, but the professional hero who has been playing soy sauce. I'm sorry, I've only just regained my mobility now, and I still need you to save me. I really lose the face of a professional hero. 20 minutes later, several other professional heroes also arrived at the scene. They looked at the messy alley and the hero killer Stein who had been subdued, and they all swallowed involuntarily. Are these little brats monsters? It's so powerful. You are indeed a student of Xiangying. My son is indeed the best. Andava, this matter is none of your business, please put away your idiotic face. Izuku, are you okay? Todoroki looked at Izuku who was being carried on the back of the hero. Man, you can just go to the hospital for your current injuries. Izuku swallowed a mouthful of blood and looked at Todoroki with a smile on his face. Then let's go to the hospital quickly. Todoroki said as he supported his squad leader and was about to walk out of the alley. The hero carrying Izuku also followed the two of them out of the alley. I'll leave it to you to look after Stein. Yeah. Okay. Several heroes who came to support nodded and took Stein out of the alley. At this time, Izuku was almost fainting due to overexertion and physical pain, but in order not to worry Todoroki-kun, Izuku still showed the spirit of I can still hit 5 with 1. Hey, Todoroki-kun, do you think my last punch was cool? Tell me. Izuku. As soon as Todoroki turned his head, he saw a red figure with wings flying past, and he caught Izuku. Izuku. Todoroki-kun roared loudly. He raised his hand and sent several ice picks towards Naoha flying in the sky. Quack, quack, ha ha ha. Now Wugwai shouted, dodging the attack of the ice pick. What are you laughing at? Izuku suddenly looked up, and a mouthful of blood that had been hidden in his mouth for a long time spurted onto the brainless face. Maybe he smelled the smell of blood, maybe he heard the roar of roaring ice, but Stein, who was still in a coma, suddenly opened his eyes. He broke free from the rope, took out the knife hidden on his body, and jumped up. Directly kill Naowu who is flying in the sky. Crack. Boom. Puff. Only All Might can kill me, who are you? A soaring evil aura came from Stein's body, and everyone was caught by this evil aura and could not move at all, even Izuku he fainted because of this evil spirit. Izuku woke up in the afternoon of the next day. When he woke up, he found that he could not speak now. Not only could he not speak, he could not even move his tongue. What's going on? Is there anyone? Is there a doctor? Izuku shouted in ventriloquism. After a while, a dog-headed policeman came in with a medical staff, followed by Gran Trino and others. There is Numar who leads Ida on professional experience. Ho ho, it looks like you are recovering well, you little wounded. Little wounded, you guys? Izuku turned around and saw that Ida and Todoroki were both there. Both of them had injured hands. Although I have a lot to say to you, I would like to ask the chief of the Hosa Police Department, Inyaji Minoko, to come and talk to you about the situation. Gran Trino pointed at the dog-headed policeman and said. Izuku was not very clear about what happened after that. He had been lying on the hospital bed because he was unable to speak and was injured. His mind was in a dazed state because his body had been under anesthesia. He reluctantly listened to what Officer Inyuji said. But I still didn't understand the specific meaning. After Officer Inyuji left, Gran Trino sat next to Izuku. Looking at the brat in front of him who was in a daze again, Gran Trino shook his head. Hey! Brat! You need to be clear. When you are discharged from the hospital, you will not be able to speak for at least 3 days. Otherwise the wound on your tongue will open again. Gran Trino raised his hands and shouted loudly into Izuku's ear. Yes. Mr. Gran Trino. Izuku was frightened by the sudden shout. He turned around and saw the teacher, and quickly responded in ventriloquism. I didn't expect you to be able to ventriloquism. It really made me worry in vain. Gran Trino shook his head again, jumped off the chair, and walked out of the ward. Izuku fell asleep again. At night, in the ward, Todoroki-kun, who had been sleeping soundly, suddenly woke up. He first looked at Ida, who was still sleeping, and then at Izuku, who was sleeping soundly. He quietly climbed out of bed. And then tiptoed to Izuku's side. Looking at Izuku's familiar face, Todoroki's face blushed slightly, and then he leaned down, planning to take advantage of Izuku's sleep to secretly give Izuku a sip, but when he just wanted to squirt Izuku, Judah suddenly changed his head in another direction, then frowned, and covered his head with the quilt without giving any shame. Humph, you don't give me any face at all. The next morning, Izuku stuck his head out of the covers. It's so boring. How on earth did I sleep last night? Izuku's current situation is like a turtle that has just stuck its head out of its shell. It has a different kind of cuteness. Unfortunately, Todoroki-kun and Ida couldn't see the scene because they went out early to hug their families. Gone safely. Izuku went to touch his phone as soon as he woke up. He had put it next to the bed yesterday. Did I turn on the video last night? Why don't I remember? With a little curiosity, Izuku opened the video. As soon as he opened it, Izuku saw what Todoroki-kun did last night. Why did Todoroki-kun come to my place last night? Are you here to cover me with quilt? Izuku thought this, sat up from the bed, and then deleted the video on his phone. Since he was helping me cover myself with a quilt, he should delete this kind of video. I'm a little hungry. You don't need to use your tongue to eat. Izuku thought boredly, and opened the takeout app on his phone, intending to order a pork chop rice. Just as he was about to place an order, his phone suddenly vibrated, and several messages flooded in, vibrating at a frequency as high as it was so big that Izuku almost couldn't hold the phone. Chapter 42, Mom went out and took back the clothes. What's going on? Why are there suddenly so many messages? Izuku patiently exited the takeout app, then opened the messages. Suddenly, a large paragraph appeared on his phone. It's so annoying to read so many words. Forget it, let's just read the next message. Izuku thought and skipped this message. As for Izuku, Mom is going abroad for a couple of trips with your dad in the next few days, so Mom will not be at home for half a month. Mom has already put money into your card. You have to take care of yourself. I have to remember to eat every day. My mother is already on the plane at this time. Hey! Mom ran out to play with Dad without me again, and she wasn't happy. Izuku even kicked his quilt, and then deleted the message directly. Let's go eat pork chop rice. Because Izuku was in a bad mood, he didn't read the previous message carefully, so he closed the message, opened the takeout app and ordered himself a pork chop rice. 10 minutes later, when Izuku was enjoying his pork chop rice, Todoroki-kun and Ida-kun walked in. Todoroki-kun, why did it take you so long? I went to get Ida-kun's consultation sheet. Ida may have sequelae on his left hand. The sequelae, are they not treated? No. I don't plan to treat it anymore, because this is my own lesson, warning myself not to make such mistakes again, so I decided that I will not cure this animal before I become an official hero. Hand. That's it. Izuku nodded, and then continued to eat pork chop rice. Suddenly, his whole body was shaken, and he felt an inexplicable coldness. When he turned around, Todoroki had a concerned look on his face. Look at him. I remember the doctor said that you can only eat liquid food these days, right? Is there any? Izuku swallowed the pork chop still in his mouth. He felt that his lunch was not good enough. Yes, so put down the pork chop rice in your hand. I don't want it. Izuku frantically put pork chop rice into his mouth, dragging his feet and running out of the ward. Disobedient. I saw an ice pick directly nailing the pork chop rice in Izuku's hand to the wall. Humph. Izuku pouted and sat on his hospital bed with a bored look on his face, then covered himself with his quilt and wrapped himself into a small ball. Todoroki-kun is a bit annoying. Todoroki spread his hands. Izuku is angry, how should I coax him? No experience at all. That night, Ida-kun was taken away by his family. He looked at Midoriya and Todoroki who were still recovering in the ward and nodded. Midoriya smiled and waved goodbye to him. The next morning, Todoroki-kun also left the ward because he still had to complete his professional experience. Izuku was the only one left in the ward who was still unable to get out of bed and carry out normal activities due to a foot injury, but he should be fine tomorrow, after all. It's a big hospital. Izuku, who was lying on the bed bored and playing with his phone, suddenly remembered that he hadn't joined the group chat for several days to see what everyone was doing, so he naturally opened the group chat and sent a message that he was still alive. Midoriya Izuku, everyone, long time no see. Shenming Electric, damn it. Izuku, you are still alive. Mineta Minoru, I thought you were dead, so I was ready to send a wreath to your house. Izuku Midoriya. Erlang Xiang, warning for inserting headphones into your eyes. Izuku, you really haven't been out for a long time. Did something happen to you? Todoroki, the hero killer was defeated by Izuku. The reason why Izuku didn't appear before was because Izuku was injured. Kirishima Eijiro, didn't it say on TV that the hero killer was defeated by Andiva? Todoroki, that's because we were punished and couldn't get any rewards or appear on the incident report, so that bastard dad took advantage of us. He actually didn't do anything. It was all defeated by Izuku. Midoriya Izuku, I just tried my best. If Todoroki-kun hadn't restrained his range of action, I wouldn't have been able to defeat him. But then again, if you really send something to my house, no one is accepting it now. My mother is out and won't be back for half a month. It's so annoying. Ida Tinya, so will you be living at home alone for the next half month? This sentence caught the attention of Bakugo Katsuki and Todoroki Jiaoro who were peeking at the screen. Midoriya Izuku, yes, fortunately I can cook myself, otherwise it would be embarrassing. Todoroki, Izuku, are you okay on your own? Midoriya Izuku, anyway, my mother didn't go out to play alone. I can take care of myself. Smiley face.jpg. Bakugo Katsuki, how can you, a loser, take care of yourself? Midoriya Izuku, why can't I do it anymore? I can also cook steak, akimbo.jpg. Todoroki, Izuku, do you need me to accompany you over there? Bakugo Katsuki, yin yang face. What do you want to do again? Hong Xiaodong, I'm going to find out Juwan, Juguan, what's wrong with you, a durian? Bakugo Katsuki, who are you talking about? You yin and yang face. Sinai. Kaminari Denki, hey, there's another good show, and now I announce that the battle for Midoriya Izuku begins now. Take Izuku away first and you continue to fight. Erlang Xiang, Shang Ming is seeking death again. Have you forgotten that we only have 1 week to carry out professional activities? Bakugo Katsuki, idiot face, you are finished. Todoroki, don't think about your math homework, and Midoriya-kun is mine. Shangming Electric, kneel down.jpg dad. Bakugo Katsuki, yin yang face, who said that Quaku is yours? Todoroki, based on your past experience with Izuku, will Izuku like you? Bakugo Katsuki. 8,000,000, Todoroki Jiaodong gets 1 point. Yuririka Okako, Bakugo, you can't do that. Yayintaru, so I still knock out. Ida Tinya, can you use this energy of knocking on CP in your studies? Especially Leary and Yayin. The results of the two of you have fallen from the top to the bottom. Yuririka Okako, bow and apologize.jpg, I'm very sorry, monitor. I feel guilty for my own behavior, but no matter what, aren't Kaminari and Sana at the bottom? Kaminari Electric, I know. Ashido Sana, is this the case? Midoriya Izuku, I just went to the toilet. Why are Xiaosheng and Todoroki-kun arguing again? Mineta Minoru, it's not because of you. Midoriya Izuku, because of me? Ida Tinya, Midoriya, you should have a good rest and be careful not to let the wound open again. Let's disperse. The next day, Sunday, Izuku was discharged from the hospital obediently. He took his combat uniform and returned home wearing a hospital gown. Standing at the door of his home, Izuku opened the door with the key hidden under the carpet. I'm back. Izuku thought as he walked into his home carrying his combat uniform. This hospital gown is a rare piece of cosplay clothing. Izuku thought, and resolutely threw the hospital gown into the closet. I remember that there is another school uniform left at Gran Trino's place, so I might as well go to him and get it. Izuku changed into a white shirt, then put the suitcase in it and got on the train. Chapter 43, Going Home and Partying. After successfully getting his clothes back from Gran Trino, Izuku said goodbye to Gran Trino. Tomorrow is Monday. Although he is very unwilling, tomorrow is the day when the career experience ends. I don't know if this counts as working 3 days and drying the net for 4 days. I am really unwilling to lie in the hospital for 4 days because of my injury. Izuku walked out of Gran Trino's house with an unhappy face. Gran Trino stood at the door and watched the unhappy brat leave. The people who finally solved this incident were actually 3 brats. Although the matter has not been exposed, everyone knows it. However, the biggest beneficiaries of this incident are these 3 brats. Whether in terms of combat or psychology, it is a great progress. Izuku walked and touched his mouth. I can't talk for 3 days, but I should be able to eat pork chop rice. Izuku was doing exercises at home while preparing dinner. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the doorbell of Izuku's house suddenly rang, followed by a quarrel. You damn yin-yang face! Why the hell are you here? I was just about to ask you, Durian Head. Stop arguing. Hurry up and let Izuku open the door. Are you here? Why are all the classmates here? As soon as he heard everyone's voices, Izuku immediately took a shirt and put it on, then went to open the door. Long time no see. Izuku said as he opened the door. Long time no see, Izuku. Everyone walked into Izuku's house. But why did everyone suddenly come to my house? Izuku closed his mouth but could still speak. Didn't you see what was said in the group? Everyone unanimously agreed to come to your house to play. By the way, find a close-up photo of your sister Coco. Pervert. Go to hell. After a headphone plug, pervert number 1 Mineta Minoru died. Although I'm a little confused, everyone is welcome. Izuku smiled and said with ventriloquism. Everyone sit down for a while, I'll go prepare some drinks. Izuku said as he walked to the kitchen. I guess you haven't had dinner yet. I've bought the ingredients. What do you want to eat? Beef noodles. Hot sauce noodles. Cook faster. Buckwheat noodles, cold is best. Everyone said what they wanted to eat, and Izuku agreed one by one, and then started to prepare dinner. So did everyone bring anything? Yayin Tiu shouted, holding a box of Monopoly. I brought fruit. I brought drinks. I brought Truth or Dare. I brought the King's Game. I brought a notebook, hee hee hee. Kami Naruto, go to hell. Double attack. Pervert number 2 Kamimura Denki, dead. Izuku-kun, where are your sister's books? Can we go and have a look? They are all in the 3rd cabinet from the left to the right of the desk in my room. I didn't sort them, but they should all be there. You can take them and have a look. Thank you so much, Izuku-kun. Yurarika Okako thanked Izuku, and then followed Yamoya Mizumo into Izuku's room. I seem to have seen the books that Izuku put in his desk last time, but I didn't read them carefully. Let's go and see what books Izuku likes to read. Izuku's books. The books he likes to read, remember the names first. Bakugo and Todoroki Shoto also stood up and walked towards Izuku's room. These are the books. Yurarika looked at the 3 books in her hand with excitement, and Yamoya Mizumo also blushed. Big pancake face. Give me the book. Yurari-kun, can you give me one of the books you have? I advise you two to be kind. Yamoanbei stood in front of Yurari Okako. This kind of book is not what you boys like to read. Please turn around and sit down obediently. The deputy class monitor finally showed Her Majesty and suppressed the 2 scoundrels. Tisk. Who wants to read Fiju's book? Just borrow one from Izuku-kun when the time comes. If I want to borrow, it's me who borrows. What's your business, you yin-yang face? It's Izuku who decides who to lend it to. You don't have the right to interfere. The atmosphere between the two became tense again. Xiao Sheng and Hong Kun, stop arguing. Dinner is ready. Come and eat. Izuku said in ventriloquism. Tisk. Fichu, help me add 2 more bowls of chili noodles. After dinner, everyone touched their stomachs. I'm so full. And, Izuku, your cooking skills are so good, how did you practice? If I practiced like that, how else can I practice? So, what should I play now? Monopoly. It takes too long, pass. What about Truth or Dare? That's fine. Then the king game will follow Truth or Dare. Everyone had an ambiguous smile on their faces. Izuku, who was washing dishes, was a little confused. Why were everyone so weird today? So, now Truth or Dare begins. Everyone gathered in a circle, and the monitor stretched out his hand to turn the pointer on the turntable. When the pointer stopped, the person pointed to had to choose Truth or Dare. In the previous rounds, in order to ensure that the little angel Izuku would not see it, a few scapegoats were randomly selected. Then the 4th round begins. This time it was Leary who turned the pointer. She and Yamawan looked at each other and then turned the pointer. The pointer was spinning among the crowd. I don't know when Yamawan took out a magnet and quietly threw it behind Izuku. Suddenly the pointer stopped and pointed at Izuku. So, will Izuku choose Truth or Dare? Leary, you look like a devil tempting others now. I choose Truth. Izuku looked nervous, and Leary smiled and took out a piece of paper from the box of truth questions. Then, truth question, the 4 people closest to you. The order is random. The 4 closest people, but I have 5 people who are closest to me. Izuku pinched his chin and said. 5 people are fine, tell me. Leary, are you a devil? Well, the first one is my mother, because she is the one who allowed me to grow up safely, the second one is All Might, because he is my most admired idol, the third one is Sister Coco, because Sister Coco and I get along best, and the 4th one is Xiao Sheng and Hong Jun, both of them are my friends. As soon as Izuku's ventriloquism came out, the others felt a bit of bad taste. Fichu. Why do you put me and that yin-yang face in the same position? It seems that I have to continue to work hard to improve my position in Izuku's heart. Chapter 44, End of the Party and Test. Izuku and his classmates played until 8 o'clock in the evening before they went home, leaving a mess behind. Ah, it's still a mess as expected. Izuku thought as he cleaned up the room. Well, it's rare for everyone to get together and play, so just have fun. But after the Truth or Dare game, Kaken and Todoroki-kun were obviously in a bad mood. After cleaning up the room and throwing away the garbage, Izuku sat on the sofa and watched TV. Half a month. How should I spend this half a month? Izuku unconsciously took out his phone and started to contact All Might. All Might teacher, are you there? Midoriya boy, what's up? I want to ask about one for all. This kind of thing, you can't accept this fact with your current strength. There is an exam for Hero Basics tomorrow. If you can get first place, then I will tell you about one for all. Okay. I will definitely get first place. From these words, All Might felt Izuku's strong will. But why do you suddenly ask this question? My mom went out to spend her honeymoon with my dad. She won't be back for half a month, and she won't take me with her. I'm super unhappy, so I came to chat with you. From this sentence, I can feel that Midoriya boy is very resentful. Wait, then I will become a person like a confidant big sister? And I will also accompany him to kill time? Then I will see All Might teacher tomorrow. Ah, see you tomorrow. All Might felt that his mentality needed some adjustment. Midoriya boy, you are my apprentice, I am not your confidant big sister. The dignity of the teacher must be established. The next morning, when Izuku finished training and was about to go out with his school bag, he saw Xiao Sheng standing outside the door. Xiao Sheng? Why are you here? I'm going to school with you, a loser. Auntie and my old lady talked about it, and then forced me to pick you up. Hurry up, loser. Okay. Izuku put on his shoes very quickly, closed the door, and walked to the tram station with Bakugo. Along the way, Izuku and Bakugo didn't talk, which made Bakugo a little unhappy. Hey, loser! Are you dumb? Look, you have a mouth. Why don't you talk? I don't really want to talk. A loser is still a loser. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Izuku and Bakugo came to the class at the same time. As soon as I entered the class, Izuku sat in his seat and started to review. Bakugo put down his school bag and walked out of the classroom to buy a drink from the vending machine. At 7:30 in the morning, Toru Hagaku and Todoroki came to the classroom one after another. As soon as Todoroki entered the classroom, he came to Izuku. Good morning, Todoroki. Izuku smiled and greeted Todoroki, of course, using ventriloquism. Good morning, Izuku, how is your tongue wound? Todoroki naturally stood beside Izuku, without even taking off his school bag. Well, the wound has healed a lot, but it feels a little itchy. Izuku scratched his neck with his hand. His tongue was recovering now, so it was naturally a little itchy. Really? Let me see. Todoroki said, and reached out to touch Izuku's mouth without saying anything. No need. Todoroki. Izuku struggled, but he was still pried open by Todoroki's hand. Woo woo woo. Izuku was still struggling. Why was Todoroki's eyes a little wrong? This scene is really exciting. Toru Hagakure, who was hiding in the corner, was holding a mobile phone to broadcast live. Kiss. Kiss. This was not only Toru Hagakure's idea, but also the idea of the hundreds of thousands of viewers who were watching the live broadcast, of course, except for one person. Just when Todoroki was about to do something wrong, the door of Class 1A suddenly opened, and the super unhappy Bakugo appeared at the door. Yin Yang face. What the hell are you doing? Weevu. 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 Xiao Shang. Help me, I can't breathe. Toryukun's hand unconsciously increased its strength, and Izuku's face began to turn pale. Put the fucking waste away. Bakugo directly used his quiz to rush towards Todoroki Shoto. Never. Todoroki and Bakugo started fighting again. During the fight, Todoroki threw the already shocked Izuku to the ground, and then used his double quiz to fight Bakugo. Izuku, whose whole body was already pale, collapsed to the ground, and Toru Hagaku secretly took a pen and poked Izuku. Izuku, a real man. Mom. I saw an angel. It seemed that he was hallucinating due to lack of oxygen. Just when Bakugo and Todoroki were about to fight for 300 rounds, they suddenly found that their quiz could not be used. They turned around and saw that Mr. Shota Izawa came to the class led by Class President Ida. You guys really make me worry. 2 white cloths directly tied Bakugo and Shoto. You two, give me 1,000-word self-review tomorrow. It's the fault of Yin Yang face. Yes, teacher, I will write it. Hurry up. Izuku-kun is in shock. Send him to the healing girl. The squad leader hurriedly carried the unconscious Izuku to the health room. The time was 7:40, and there were still 20 minutes before the first Hero Basics class. 10 minutes later, Izuku suddenly opened his eyes. Puff cough cough. Izuku breathed in big gulps of air as soon as he opened his eyes. Finally I can breathe again. Izuku, how do you feel now? Ida, who had been accompanying him, looked at Izuku with concern. It's much better now. I felt like I was in hell before. How are Xiao Sheng and Hung Jun? You actually have time to care about others. You really don't care about your life. Now they are both fine. Teacher Izawa punished them to write a 1,000 word self-reflection. Well, don't worry about that for now. Hurry up and put on your combat uniforms. The first lesson of Hero Basics is taught by All Might. I don't think you will be late, right? Of course. Izuku put on his combat uniforms at an inhuman speed and ran to the training ground. At 8:05 in the morning, Izuku arrived at the training place. Okay, everyone, today we will practice the results you have gained in the career experience. All Might said to everyone with a smile today. This is a factory. I will wait for everyone to arrive at the center of the factory. Whoever can arrive first and does not destroy anything in the factory will win. The reward is, no homework today. And you must remember not to destroy any facilities here. All Might said while pointing to Bakugo Katsuki standing aside. Don't point at me. I'll take this reward. Kamimura Denki and Ashido-sana looked at each other with sparks in their eyes. Now let's assign teams. A few minutes later, Izuku and the others stood at the entrance of the factory. I must get first place this time. I need to know everything about One For All. Izuku thought, gathering One For All on his feet. Who do you think will take first place? It's a bit mysterious. All Might puts those with high mobility in the first group. I guess it's Ida-kun. I think it's Zero. Haikyuu is definitely the last one. Beep beep beep. As the whistle sounded, the game began. Chapter 45, End of the Test. Izuku rushed to the pipe next to him as soon as he heard the whistle. To run wildly in this kind of terrain, he had to occupy the high ground. Now, it's time to test the speed. Izuku ran on the pipe at a speed close to 20 kilometers, but it was not enough. 40 kilometers. Explosion. Izuku was now like lightning, constantly moving on the pipe. This speed. Is it cheating? Zero, who was following behind Izuku, was simply stunned. Speed up! Speed up! Izuku now had only this thought in his mind, and the green arc of electricity surrounded his whole body. After a while, he saw All Might standing on the central platform. I see. Now is the place that needs to be paid attention to. Now we must be careful. Izuku felt like he went to see a doctor when he was 4 years old, and his breathing was covered by despair, and a little light of hope was ethereal. This time, I must catch it. Although Izuku's steps were a little out of place at this time, he was still so determined, I must take the first place. With the last leap, all the green arcs on Izuku's body were concentrated on his feet, and the smile on his face became even brighter. I am the first. Izuku, who landed steadily on the high platform, looked at All Might. Congratulations on your first place. Half an hour later, Izuku and the others had all finished the test and changed clothes in the locker room. I didn't expect that Midoriya would take the first place today. His speed is simply too fast. Zero said while changing clothes. I didn't expect that in just 7 days, Izuku's progress would be so scary. How did you train, Izuku? That's how I trained. What else can I do? Didn't I send my training program to the group? The people who were changing clothes in the locker room couldn't help but think of Izuku's 3 perverted training programs. Even Bakugo and Todoroki only lasted for 3 days, and this was only the amount of the first training plan. Then I'll go back first. All Might teacher wants to see me. Izuku changed his clothes faster than others and walked out of the locker room. It's a pity that Izuku left. I found a good thing and planned to share it with him. Mineta Minoru's expression was a little lewd, and he probably found a place to peek into the girls' locker room next door. Half an hour later, Izuku and All Might were sitting in the office drinking tea. So can you tell me about One For All now? Izuku asked while drinking tea and speaking ventriloquism. Why can you talk while drinking tea? Because I can speak ventriloquism. It's really an interesting ability. An hour later, Izuku returned to the class with a nervous look on his face. He didn't expect that the reason why One For All was constantly passed down was because they had to face a fateful enemy. Alforoni is combined into one person. Can he use other people's quirks for his own use? This quirks is too perverted, and there is no way to crack it. Using that quirks, you can pull out a large army in a minute. What should I do in this situation? Izuku started to mutter again. Teacher Izuo looked at Izuku, who was biting his finger and mumbling as he wrote on the blackboard. Did All Might tell him about it? Isn't it too early to tell him now? Never mind, this is just a fact he will soon accept. That useless guy, he is like this after coming back from All Might. What is this loser doing? He still wants to catch up with me? Did Izuku encounter any problems? Why did he seem so anxious after coming back from All Might? Do I need to buy him a lollipop? When the get out of class was over, Izuku finally realized that he would have to face Alforoni sooner or later. Now he knew that he could fill himself with fear and motivation and train harder. It seems that I have to make another training plan. All Might's plan is good but lacks the meaning of on-site training. Moreover, I can't just rely on training every morning and evening to strengthen my body. Physical fitness must be carried out every day and every hour, so, Izuku thought seriously about his training subjects. So I can only go to find Famime. I hope she has some exercise equipment. Izuku thought, covered his scribbled notebook, and walked out of the classroom. From beginning to end, Izuku didn't say a word to Bakugo. What's wrong with this loser? What's wrong with Izuku recently? Let's go and see. The two troublemakers reached a tacit understanding for the first time. They followed Izuku to the support department, and also followed by the low-profile Toru Hagakure. I happen to have a complete set of wearable training equipment here, but the price. Izuku took out a gold card directly. Then thank you for your patronage. Feimei took the gold card with a flattering face, and then walked towards her invention room. But why don't you talk? I heard from my classmates that you are a person who loves to laugh and talk. Why now? Sorry, I was injured in the previous career experience, so I can't talk. Now I talk to you using ventriloquism, which is very tiring. I said, by the way, take off your clothes. Take off your clothes. Izuku stepped back nervously and said. Are you a female hooligan? My equipment is still in the process of being completed. I need your physical data. Don't think about those things. If I wasn't short of money, would I help you? Oh, okay. Izuku obediently took off his school uniform, shirt, sandbag, and iron block, leaving only a pair of underwear. I can't tell, your physical fitness is not bad, why do you want to improve your physical fitness? Fa Muming asked while measuring Izuku's body with a tape measure. Because I want to catch up with someone. Izuku said this and closed his eyes. Suddenly, he seemed to hear the sound of water spraying out. Fameki, do you have water pipes here? No? What's wrong? Did the water pipe next door explode? Maybe, don't move. The point is that you make me feel itchy now. Hurry up and stand still. Yes. 5 minutes later, Izuku put on his clothes again. When will the equipment be ready? About a week, I have already paid, you can keep the card. Thank you then. Izuku's smile was still so pure. Puff. Another spring gushed out. What's going on? This time even Fameki heard it. I don't know, maybe your machine exploded again. Damn. My baby. A few minutes later, Izuku walked back to the classroom while drinking a cup of milk in the vending machine. Strange? Why are everyone gone? Isn't this class Mr. Cement's class? Izuku sat back in his seat and threw the finished milk into the trash can. Chapter 46, Problem. 2 minutes later, the others walked into the classroom one by one, but everyone covered their noses with one hand, and didn't know what happened. Where did everyone go? Hurry up and sit down, Mr. Cement Tsukasa is coming. Everyone sat back in their seats, and the air was filled with a faint smell of blood. Just then, Izuku smelled this smell of blood. What's wrong with everyone? Why do you all smell of blood? Did you fight with students from other classes? That shouldn't be the case. In class, Izuku thought absent-mindedly, and the others also had their own thoughts. Anyway, no one would attend class well. Mr. Cement Tsukasa was also helpless. The students in the class didn't listen to the class well in recent days. First, Bakugo and Todoroki, and then the whole class. What happened in recent days? Do you really think that I, a history teacher, won't fight? But he couldn't hit the students. It's not easy to be a teacher these days. 555. After finishing the history class intermittently, Mr. Cement planned to find a teacher to have a good chat, such as Mr. Aizawa or All Might. Let's go find All Might. When Cement thought of Shota Aizawa, he only remembered his figure in the yellow sleeping bag, with a face that said no strangers allowed. Mr. Cement came to All Might's office and knocked on the door. All Might, are you there? Yes, please come in. As soon as Cement opened the door, he saw All Might, who was hailed as a symbol of peace, plugging his nostrils with 2 tissues. All Might, were you attacked by the enemy, or what happened? It's okay, it's okay. I just ate too many nutritional supplements, a little too much, so I had a nosebleed. By the way, what do you want to talk to me about? All Might said as he put his phone in the drawer. Well, it's about the recent problems of Class 1A. Their recent behavior is very abnormal. Hey? Why is it abnormal? All Might's nose began to bleed again. In addition to the hero basics and class meetings, they have not been attending other courses properly. Even Mr. Mike has begun to have opinions. Well, I know about this. I will deal with it. Mr. Cement Tsukasa, I will discuss this matter with the principal. That's good. Mr. Cement Tsukasa walked out of the office. Is it because of Midoriya or because of something else? At lunch, Izuku met the recognized king of B class, Monoma Ningren. Hey, isn't this the guy from class 1A? Why are you sitting here eating lunch alone? As expected, a waste is still a waste. Hello, do you want to eat together? Izuku's smile is still so pure and touching. Since you beg me, I can't do anything. No one begs you, okay? As soon as Monoma Ningren sat opposite Izuku, he felt two murderous gazes shooting at him from both sides, from Bakugo and Todoroki. Allah, it seems that someone has developed a hunting mentality towards you. Monoma, a sharp-tongued man, was naturally not afraid. He stirred the noodles in the bowl with chopsticks while looking at Izuku. Allah, I didn't expect that one of the best guys in class 1A would actually like Midoriya Izuku. I wonder how many good shows I can see with this news? Fuck. This guy actually dared to look at Izuku shamelessly. This guy is definitely dead. How can a guy like you harass the class pet of our class? The guys in class B, get out of here and go back to class B. If we didn't have a nosebleed when we saw Izuku now, would you still have a seat over there? Get out of here and eat in the toilet. I am the only one who can sit next to Izuku. Who told you to sit opposite Izuku? Two figures grabbed one of Monoma's shoulders and threw the chatterbox away. Xiaosheng, Hong, where did you go? I've been looking for you for a long time. Although Izuku was still speaking with his mouth closed, the two guys still felt that Izuku's words were a bit coquettish. I just went to buy a glass of ice water. Humph, it's true that you're a waste of time. Even such a short time will make things go wrong. I just went to cool the soba noodles. I can eat cold soba noodles with an appetite. The two guys naturally sat next to Izuku and opposite him. Of course, there was a fight between them. Then let me ask you two a question, okay? Tisk, ask it, you idiot. Yeah, okay, ask it. Did you go to a group fight during the break of the third class? Puff. Why did you think of this question, Izuku-kun? Do we look like people who like to fight? Yurika Okako and Ida Tinya suddenly appeared from the table next to Izuku. I don't know if you like fighting in groups, but I smelled blood during class. You all had it, even Todoroki and Kikan had it. If it's really a fight, please bring me with you next time, I can help too. Izuku's slogan made everyone in class 1A smile. Don't you know how we got the bloody smell? Izuku, I really don't know. Did we go to donate blood together? Why didn't you bring me with you? In the afternoon, Mr. Mike's English class was temporarily replaced with All Might's psychological counseling class. Well, here I come. All Might walked in from the front door as usual, but every time the class saw All Might, they would cheer a little. Others cheered because they saw their idol, and Sani and Kamimai cheered because there were no homework and exams in this class. All Might, why was this class changed to a psychological counseling class? And why do we need psychological counseling? As the class monitor, Tinya Ida raised his hand and asked a question. Well, actually, we don't have a psychological counseling class at all. This class is just to have a good chat with everyone, and recently many teachers have reported that you are not paying attention in class, so I hope everyone can give me an explanation. All Might's eyes suddenly became very sharp, and there was an unknown aura pressing on every student. Such a strong air pressure. No. It's not air pressure, it's aura. Is he worthy of being no one? But is this really okay? Izuku-kun is unconscious again. What? Izuku was slumped in his seat, rolling his eyes, with white smoke coming out of his mouth. Mom! I saw God! This must be a soul leaving his body. Someone hurry up and bring his soul back. After another round of confusion, Izuku finally came back to life. So, now everyone has to write down their troubles and hand them in anonymously. I will read a few of them. How about everyone come up with ideas to solve them? This kind of problem-solving thing? It's really interesting. I do have a lot of problems to solve, he. Mineta Minoru, just shut up. Even if the teacher draws yours, he will definitely not read it. Chapter 47, Questions and Checks. Izuku sat in his seat, looking at the white paper in front of him with a bit of worry. It wasn't that he didn't have any worries, but that he had too many worries and didn't know how to write them. He couldn't write about one for all, his personal problems, and his emotional problems, really. Then he could only write about some problems like exercise. Then I can only write about these few questions. Izuku wrote down the questions about punching and kicking that he hadn't figured out for a long time. Tisk, I don't have so many questions to ask, Fiju, show me the questions you wrote. Bakugo turned around and snatched Izuku's paper away. Xiaosheng, these are my own questions, it's useless for you to copy them. Izuku wanted to snatch his paper back, but naturally failed. Ah, Xiaosheng snatched my things again, I'd better take another piece of paper and write it again. This kind of thing happened more than once or twice. As long as Xiaosheng took a fancy to Izuku's things, whether it was toys or homework, Bakugo would snatch them away and would not return them to Izuku until they were broken. What the hell is Fiju writing? I can't understand it at all. Bakugo looked at what Izuku wrote with a strange look on his face, there are even illustrations. What are these little people? The more he looked at it, the angrier he got. Bakugo still blew up the paper in his hand as usual, leaving not even a slag. At this time, Todoroki stared at Bakugo fiercely. You don't want that paper, give it to me. You wishful thinking. Even All Might, who was a big nerve, felt the atmosphere at the scene. The atmosphere at the scene was very tense. Except for Bakugo and Todoroki Shoto who were confronting each other, other students were either taking out their phones or secretly watching the show. Only Izuku was writing questions seriously, but the key point was that he was the one who provoked the incident. Give everyone another 5 minutes, and everyone will bring up the questions they have written in 5 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes later, Izuku crumpled his question into a ball of paper and handed it to All Might. I hope All Might can draw my question. I have been thinking about this question for a long time. Izuku thought as he sat back in his seat. Okay. Then I'll start drawing the first one. All Might threw the paper ball into the air, then suddenly grabbed a paper ball in his hand, and the remaining paper balls fell freely, and many of them hit All Might's head. Then the first question, why can't I run faster, and when can I inherit my brother's name? This question is very sharp and tricky, but Izuku should have some insights on the issue of speed, so Izuku, please tell me. Me. Izuku stood up from his seat, and when All Might nodded, Izuku quickly flipped out his little notebook. Speed is actually divided into two types, extreme speed and continuous speed. Izuku proudly spoke out the analysis he had prepared for a long time, which directly delayed the time of this class by half, and even All Might could hardly stand his nagging. That's what I thought of as a way to increase speed. Izuku sat down and rubbed his stomach. Although ventriloquism also uses the vocal cords, it still makes the stomach tired. Okay, thank you very much for your speech. As the class monitor, Ida Tina was the first to applaud. The other students clapped their hands symbolically, but they were thinking, next time, don't let Izuku speak. He's too good at delaying time. Until the end of this class, there were not many questions. Izuku looked at everyone with a confused face. Is it because I'm too good at speaking? What do you think? After school in the afternoon, Izuku walked out of the school gate with his school bag on his back, but he went in the opposite direction of his home. That was the city center. A dozen people followed him. Why don't you go home? All the 1A class, it's none of your business if we don't go home. Sorry to bother you. Izuku walked while looking at his phone. I didn't expect Sister Coco to send out things so quickly this time. Is it because her work is very popular in China? Forget it. Sister's things are still sister's things. Even if they are given to me, I can't take them. Izuku said as he walked into the city center. Where does Izuku want to go? He has already walked into the city center, why don't you stop? Shangming Denki looked at Izuku who had already walked into the city center and touched his head. I don't know. By the way, does Bakugo know? How the hell should I know? I also really want to know what Izuku is doing. What about Todoroki? I have only known him for a few days, okay. I really want to lick Izuku. Even if I can hug him for a while. Izuku still didn't realize that he was being targeted by a dozen bad kids who wanted to know where he was going. Izuku walked towards the cafe where he and his contact person met most often. The sky was already dark at this time, and it looked like a heavy rain would come soon. Long time no see, Izuku-kun. As soon as Izuku sat down, a plain-dressed but beautiful woman sat opposite him. A dozen hamsters rushed into the cafe at an inhuman speed. Kamina and Hibiki sat directly next to Izuku's table. Bakugo and Todoroki sat opposite them. Hibiki used her quirk to eavesdrop on Izuku's conversation. Long time no see, Miss Yanhui. I didn't expect you and I would meet this time. Izuku Midoriya shook hands with the woman. Yes, although my Q can imitate anyone's face, I just can't imitate your face. It's only a matter of time before Miss Yanhui can imitate my face, but what is the purpose of this meeting? Izuku ordered 2 cups of black coffee, and his eyes were still bright when he looked at Miss Yanhui. It's all because of Teacher Coco. Miss Yanhui collapsed on the dining table, stretched out her hands to Izuku, and she grabbed Izuku's collar. Izuku, please go over this time. We are almost driven crazy by Teacher Coco. Miss Yanhui burst into tears. Calm down, Miss Yanhui, I promised Sister Coco that I would go to China to see her this summer vacation. What happened? Izuku took 2 tissues and handed them to Miss Yanhui. Since Teacher Coco opened the door to the novel world in China, the ranking of the useless brother and sister on the novel list has been rising. Miss Yanhui said while wiping her tears with a tissue. But the key is that Teacher Coco doesn't play by the rules. The 3 of us editors were expecting that Teacher Coco would return to her original writing direction after opening up the Chinese market, but she actually wrote 3 more BL novels. Although the sales are good, we don't want to read them. It will make your nose bleed. And Teacher Coco also said that if you don't go over, she will continue to write BL novels. The teacher has already written 5 books. We editors are about to collapse. Send back the Teacher Coco who wrote romance novels before. I see, I see. Izuku said with a smile. Although he knew that his sister Coco was a foo, he never expected that his sister's editor would actually want his sister who was on the BL road to turn back to the right path. Congratulations, congratulations. By the way, have you read the BL novels written by the teacher? Miss Yanhui's words attracted the attention of Bakugo, Todoroki, and others. Of course I have read all the novels written by my sister. Izuku took a sip of black coffee, it was so bitter. Izuku couldn't help but stick out his tongue. Don't you feel anything? Miss Yanhui stared at Izuku's face carefully, trying to find a hint of shyness on his face, but unfortunately Izuku didn't. Feeling? Overall, I feel that my sister's writing is getting better and better. Izuku pushed his black coffee forward, and he would better not order such a bad coffee in the future. Tisk, so boring. Okay, I won't chat with you anymore, I have to catch the plane back, this check is specifically for you by Teacher Koku. Miss Yanhui took out a check from her bag. I remember I told Sister Koku that I don't need this kind of thing. Izuku looked at Miss Yanhui in confusion, didn't you convey my meaning to me? The key is, your sister Coco said, my brother just needs to keep my sister's things. I don't know what the 2 of you are doing. One of you insists on giving it to me, and the other refuses to accept it. I'm leaving. You'd better accept the things, so that I don't have to make another trip. Okay, Miss Yanhui. Izuku always treated her politely. Looking at the check in front of him, Izuku decided to follow the old way. Chapter 48, Izuku is sick. Izuku took the check and braved the heavy rain to a nearby bank. Looking at Izuku who was already soaked, the salesperson was a little confused. What was this kid doing here at this time? Hello, I'm here to exchange a check. Izuku took out the check from his school bag. The check was still very dry. Oh, okay, no problem. The salesperson took the check, looked at the amount on the check, looked at Izuku's face seriously, and then turned around to get the money. Hey, tell me, how much money will Cao Cao give to Ku? I think it's only a few hundred yuan. Just give him a few hundred yuan to let him eat and drink. He's still looking down on Izuku, Bakugo-san. Now, this is the money on the check. If you weren't still young, I would have thought you were using fake checks to deceive people. The salesperson held a blue box, her face was quite relaxed, but I never thought that 10 million yuan would be so much. Thank you then. Can you transfer the money to this card? Izuku took out a blue card from his card bag. This card contains all the money he has made in the past 2 years. I have received all the check money from my sister for a long time. No problem. The salesperson started the operation. Izuku sat on the chair where the customer was sitting, with his back straight. From time to time, water droplets slid down his back, like a child's skin being affected by the water droplets. It can be broken even more by bombs. Izuku is so cute now. All the students in class 1A, including Bakugo, thought so. Sneeze. Izuku sneezed. After finishing his work, he had to go back and take a shower, otherwise he would catch a cold. He had already caught a cold. Izuku felt that his body was starting to get cold. The 10 months of training were completely useless now. He would still catch a cold when it was time to catch a cold. Is it really because of too little exercise? Izuku thought this. After taking a shower, he took 2 cold medicines and got into bed to sleep. The next morning, Izuku came to class with his cold completely gone. In order to prevent other students from getting infected, Izuku put on a 3-layer mask before going out. Today's class is Teacher Almit's class, so you must not miss it. With this determination, Izuku came to class at 7 o'clock. Only then did he realize how tired he was from running 20 kilometers before. Running to work up a sweat doesn't suit me. Izuku thought, even though he was sweating all over, the cold still didn't seem to go away. I'm so sleepy, but I have to persist until Teacher Almit's class is over. This is a sign of respect for the teacher. Izuku's eyes were bloodshot, and he stared at Almate, making Almate go crazy. What happened to this doll recently? Okay, this class is over. The bell rang. Just as Almate was about to leave the classroom, he heard a clang. When he turned around, Izuku fell to the ground with his eyes closed, breathing rapidly. 5 minutes later, everyone looked at the therapy girl. Fortunately, this is just a bad cold. I happen to have medicine here, but this kind of illness should have been treated at home long ago. What's going on? Everyone looked at Almat, who scratched his head. Maybe it's because the first class is my class. Damn winner in life. Everyone in class 1A thinks so. He has already taken my medicine. He can just sleep for a dozen hours. However, this medicine still has some side effects. You'd better be mentally prepared, and it's best to have 2 people taking care of him. The treatment girl, after saying that, he dragged Almat out of the health room. Although that medicine is very effective, the side effects are also very obvious. The treating girl was very serious at this time. What are the side effects, healing girl? That medicine was used by an intern with a returning to a child personality before. Although the effect of the medicine has not changed. Then what is the approximate time for returning to a child? Almat suddenly realized that he was about to see such a cute disciple of his as a child, and the corners of his mouth began to rise again involuntarily. According to the intern, the time for returning to a child is about 3 days. 3 days. It feels very tricky. Aizawa, I want to replace you. Shota Aizawa, it's too troublesome, so I won't do it. Regarding the issue of taking care of Izuku, Bakugo and Todoroki had a quarrel, and then Almat appointed 4 people to take care of Izuku, Bakugo, Todoroki, 8,000,000 and Tinya Ida. The first 2 were completely different. It's voluntary. Although the last 2 are designated, I beg you to take that onto smile back from your face. It's very scary. Then 2 people will be on duty for the first half of the night, and 2 people will be on duty for the second half of the night. Bakugo never thought that his ever-victorious rock-paper-scissors game, played with Izuku, would actually lose to Todoroki Koro. Could it be that he asked me to play with Fiju before? The time for Todoroki to decide is the latter half of the night. After all, the latter half of the night is more suitable for doing bad things. Bakugo, how dare you? Seeing his little tame with a red face and breathing heavily, Bakugo couldn't bear it. Trash is trash, I can't even stand a cold. If you have the guts, don't say this with a blushing face. Don't even cover your mouth. Is it so late already? Ida looked up from his book and saw the time. It was time for dinner. The cafeteria should still be open now. Bakugo, do you need me to buy you dinner? Please bring me a bowl of spicy noodles. It's super spicy. No problem. The monitor ran out like the wind. Now only Bakugo and Izuku, who was still sick, were left in the health room. I really want to do something bad now. I can't remember it anyway, so I'll just smack my ass. Bakugo thought so, and the 2 faces got closer and closer. I don't know what Izuku's situation is now. The 2 voices woke Bakugo up. He immediately sat up straight and looked at Todoroki and Yomi, who came in with an annoyed look. Todoroki Shoto was obviously smug. Fuck your uncle's yin-yang face. Want to do something bad? Did you ask me? The 2 exchanged glances again. Izuku's temperature is abnormal now. It keeps rising. We have to cool him down. Yamawan used his quirtity to create an ice pack that can be applied to Izuku's head. Hong understood what he meant and stretched out his right hand. He condensed ice cubes and put them in the ice pack, and then put the ice pack on Izuku's head. Puff puff puff, the ice cubes in the ice pack were melting continuously, and soon it became a pot of boiling water. Ida, who had just come back from buying dinner, saw this scene. Ida, can Izuku have a hot pot party on his head? In the end, it was Yamawan who asked the treatment girl and found out that it was a normal situation. A severe cold requires more fever and sweating. The situation you are talking about is normal now. You mainly need to pay attention to the sequelae of the medicine. The above is what the treatment girl said. Yamawan said seriously. Why does the healing lady teacher ask us to pay attention to the side effects of the drugs? Could it be that the side effects are so terrible that we can't accept them? Who knows? It's 10 o'clock in the evening and there's still an hour before the shift change. What are you doing here so early, Yin Yang face? I'm here to do my homework while watching over Izuku. And I'll keep an eye on you and prevent you from doing anything bad. Tisk. Damn Yin Yang face. Chapter 49, Izuku becomes smaller. The time came to 12 o'clock in the morning. Bakugo and Ida had already fallen asleep on the chairs outside the healthcare room. 8 Million and Todoroki Xiaodong were looking after Izuku, who was still blushing and breathing heavily. Really, Izuku's temperature has not come down. Is what the treatment girl said true or false? 8 Million took out the thermometer, which remained at 38 degrees. It seems that I can only trust the healing girl. Todoroki-kun shook his head. Although Izuku is very cute now, he still wants Izuku to recover. A few hours later, BA Million fell asleep on the bed, unable to hold on any longer. Hong Xiaodong immediately woke up from his hazy consciousness. He knew that now was the best time to do bad things. Izuku's face is so cute now. Now I want to take a sip and just lick it. Just lick it, just once. Todoroki's tongue stuck out and he slowly approached Izuku. Long face. Yin Yang face, what are you doing? A deep voice sounded, and a pair of shining eyes stared at Hong Xiaodong. You didn't do anything. Hong Xiaodong straightened up naturally. Tisk, have you been discovered? It's best if you don't do anything. I will always keep an eye on you. Stop trying to do bad things. A few hours later, Todoroki and Bakugo couldn't stand it anymore and fell asleep. At the same time, a pair of silver eyes popped out of the window. Protect the master. The next morning, Todoroki Xiaodong felt the need to talk to the therapy girl, who was lying on the bed. So cute, okay? I saw a 4-year-old kid wearing only this pair of underwear, lying on the bed huddled up, his green hair trembling between breaths, and there was a little sparkle in the corner of his eyes. Is this Izuku? The 8 Million who woke up after Todoroki Xiaodong were also a little confused. When he was confused, the 8 Million took out his mobile phone from his pocket, took a picture of the current Izuku, and then sent it to the group superior. 8 Million hundred, Yaeshao, Izuku has become a child. Picture attached. Mineta Minoru, damn it. Who is this doll? Izuku's? Erlang Xiang, you are overthinking Pudao, Bibai, what is the situation now? 8 Million hundred, I don't know either. I'm in a panic right now. What should I do? Tinya Ida invites Almat to join the group. Kaminari Electric, I know. Monitor, you are still awake now. What happened to Almat? Tinya Ida, I woke up early and was buying breakfast for the people in the health room. Almat had privately messaged me about the side effects of the medicine. Almat, that's right. The side effect of the drug is return to childhood. It was caused by an intern with return to childhood and personality who accidentally used the personality on the drug. The personality lasts for 3 days. During the returning to childhood period, the memories of the Green Valley boy will go back to the memories of that age, and he may be more afraid of strangers, so during these 3 days, I would like to trouble you to take care of the little Green Valley. Almat left the group chat. Kaminari Electric, heading to school like crazy, he said he had never seen Izuku as a child and had to take pictures. Erlang Xiang, Memento +1. Mineta Minoru, Memento +1. Kirishima Ajiro, what about Bakugo? Why don't you just say something about such a big thing? Souvenir +1. Plum rain frog blowing, don't break the formation, Kirishima, take a souvenir +1 croak. Kaminari Denki, Bakugo is probably still sleeping at this point. Bakugo Katsuki, hey? Bakugo stood up with his mobile phone and walked into the health room. When he saw Izuku, who was only 4 years old, he was stunned. How could such a big Izuku become such a small one? Ida, who returned to the health room, said, I am also confused now. I am confused now. Can we join a table and play a game of mahjong? Hey, Izuku blinked, woke up, and looked at the unfamiliar ceiling and 4 unknown brothers and sisters. Who are you? Izuku looked at the people pitifully. Where is his mother? Where is Xiao Sheng? I'm so scared now. Tears formed in Izuku's eyes. Where's my mother? Izuku pulled the quilt covering him, and he turned around and saw a familiar face. Xiao Sheng? When did you grow up so big? At 8 o'clock in the morning, little Izuku was carried by Bakugo and came to the class. Others had been waiting here for a long time. When they saw little Izuku held by Bakugo, although everyone did not believe it too much, Izuku was like this now. Super cute. Several girls couldn't resist the temptation and walked up to little Izuku, poking him from time to time. So cute. And this green bunny suit is so handy. Bibai, did you make it? Yurika Okako was the first to sigh. Yes, I think this dress is particularly suitable for little Izuku. 8 million people crossed their arms and hugged their chests for a while because of their own aesthetics, but I was so awesome. I didn't expect little Izuku to be so cute at such a young age. Bakugo, you were really capable of killing him then. I want you to take care of the stinky frog. Bakugo's face suddenly became ferocious and terrifying, which frightened Izuku in his arms. Xiao Sheng, can't just swear people. Izuku almost cried. Xiao Sheng was so scary. Look, you made Izuku-san cry again, give it to me. Todoroki took this opportunity to snatch little Izuku away from Bakugo's arms. Yin Yang face. Bakugo was furious again, and used his quiz to catch up with Todoroki Shoto, who was escaping on an ice path created by Masaya's quiz. Brother, you look like someone I know. Izuku was held by Todoroki Shoto and was running away on the ice path. Who is it? Todoroki's face changed slightly, and he asked calmly. It seems. His name is Shoto. His face doesn't have the scar on your face, and he said he wouldn't leave me. He lied. Izuku's voice became very low, and Todoroki Shoto's face changed, his face became gloomy, bastard dad. But I will meet him in the future, right? Izuku suddenly smiled and looked at Todoroki Shoto, who was holding him. Yes, we will meet in the future. The chase between the two ended when Mr. Aizawa came to class, and the two were hung in the air by Mr. Aizawa's restraint cloth for a whole class. Izuku behaved very well in class, so quiet that other students were a little surprised. Izuku sat quietly in his seat. Although he didn't understand, he still looked at the teacher seriously. Didn't you tell him that this is you.E? Ashido-sana asked Yamoan quietly. I did say that when Izuku first heard that this is Yui, he was very excited, but it didn't take long for Izuku to calm down, just like a different person. Yamoan said in a low voice. The first rule of life, protect yourself, the second rule, don't cause trouble to others. Izuku is now silently reciting these 2 rules in his heart. As a person with no personality, all he can do is not to cause trouble to others. When the get out of class was over, teacher Aizawa found that Izuku, who was listening to the class seriously just now, fell asleep against the wall at some point. After all, he is just a 4-year-old kid. Aizawa thought so, walked out of the classroom, and put down the 2 guys hanging from the ceiling, and the 2 troublemakers immediately ran to see Izuku. Izuku is mine now. Durian head, get out of here. When did Fiju belong to you? Let go. The 2 guys started fighting again. Hachiman took the opportunity to carry little Izuku away and made an earmuff for him to wear. Hiruru, Mom. Izuku was still sleeping. After the 4th class in the morning, Izuku, who was carried by Bakugo to the cafeteria for lunch, naturally ordered a pork chop rice. Everyone, why do you still like to eat pork chop rice after becoming small? Izuku, pork chop rice is the best. I like pork chop rice the most. Bakugo brought a pork chop rice in front of Izuku with an expressionless face. Izuku picked up a piece of fried pork chop with chopsticks and started eating. The people sitting next to him were watching Izuku eat. Warm tips, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 50, Mustard and Training. Izuku had just finished eating a piece of fried pork chop, and before he had time to take a breath, he was choked and lost his mind. So choking, cough cough cough. Why does fried pork chop choke you? Sitting next to Izuku, Urari picked up a piece of fried pork chop with chopsticks and looked at it carefully. Soon, Urari found something strange. Why is there green sauce behind the fried pork chop? It's mustard. No wonder. Urari tasted the green sauce, and the after effect of mustard rushed straight into her nose. Faku is really a waste. He didn't even notice this problem. Bakugo laughed and pointed at Izuku, who was still eating pork chop rice. Izuku, that plate of pork chop rice clearly has mustard, why are you still eating it? Urari directly grabbed Izuku's hand holding the chopsticks. Only if I'm full can I have the energy to train, to enter UA, to become a hero, to not be laughed at by Kikan, to not be called a waste, so I have to eat my fill. Izuku said, breaking free from Arisa's hand and continuing to eat the pork chop rice with mustard. After a while, Izuku finished the pork chop rice and slipped off the table. He had to find a place to train. Izuku, where are you going? Todoroki Shoto had also finished his soba noodles at this time, and watched little Izuku run out of the cafeteria. Todoroki put down his chopsticks and followed him. Yin Yang Face. Bakugo watched Yin Yang Face run out of the cafeteria with Izuku, and followed him with a curse. So, do we still want to eat? Or should we continue to let Toru Hagakure help us live broadcast? I'm already live broadcasting, hurry into the live broadcast room. Toru Hagakure suddenly appeared and said. All the students in Class 1A immediately took out their mobile phones and entered the live broadcast room. Izuku relied on his own strength and eyesight to find a place suitable for his training, which was a small forest. Izuku, why do you like to go into the forest so much? This tree is good. Izuku patted a small tree. Then I'll leave it to you. Izuku bowed to the small tree and stretched out his fists to hit the small tree continuously. 1, 2, 1, 2. Izuku hammered every punch very hard, and the small tree was shaking. Several guys hiding in the corner were peeping at Izuku, who was training hard. I didn't expect that Midoriya boy has been so hard since he was a child. Standing by the window on the 4th floor, All Might looked at Izuku, who was beating the tree, and felt a little emotional. That's it. He worked hard when he was a child. Izuku said, standing next to All Might. Fiju, don't your hands hurt? Izuku looks a little handsome like this. Two guys secretly hid by the wall and watched Izuku train. It hurts a little. Izuku stopped, shook his hands, and looked at his knuckles that had turned red. It hurts, so what? Keep practicing. Izuku shook his head and continued to beat the tree. Only by living can we help others, and only by living can we not hold others back. What about ordinary people, what about no quirk, can't no quirk become a hero? I will definitely enter UE. I will. Izuku said loudly, and the last punch directly broke the small tree in half. Ha, 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 it seems that my strength has increased again. By the way, it seems that the tree I broke seems to be the tree of UE. I don't know how much money I have to pay. I'm so sleepy. Izuku burst out all the strength in his body this time, and leaned against the tree stump with his eyes wide open. So sleepy. After a while, Izuku fell asleep completely, breathing steadily, and the ends of his hair kept shaking between his breaths, looking quite cute. Is Fiju asleep? Humph, waste. Do you want to go over and carry him to sleep somewhere else? Izuku, don't sleep here, let's go to sleep somewhere else, okay? Todoroki Shoto suddenly appeared beside Izuku and gently picked him up. Hey! Yin Yang Face! SHH, keep your voice down. Chikashu. Bakugo was quiet for a rare time, and the two carried little Izuku to the health room. Along the way, Izuku's knuckles kept bleeding and dripped on the ground. Healing girl! Bakugo shouted, and ran into the health room with Todoroki Shoto. What's going on? How come you got injured again after such a short time? The healing girl looked at Izuku with a headache, whose hand was bleeding. Really, has he been so fond of self-abuse since he was a child? It's okay, it's just exhaustion, and the hand is not injured. It will be fine after sleeping here for a while. The healing girl looked at Izuku sleeping on the bed, and then looked at Bakugo and the two who were still in the health room. By the way, shouldn't you guys go back to the classroom? It's almost time for class, or do you want to skip class? Hurry back. The two ran back to the classroom like the wind, with the same thought in their minds, they must come to see Izuku after class, waste it. What annoying kids, aren't you, All Might? All Might in his normal form lifted the curtain between the isolation beds, and he looked at Izuku who was sleeping soundly on the bed. Maybe it's just friendship between classmates. All Might thought so, and sat on the chair. Now he has 45 minutes to watch Izuku's cute appearance as a child. It's a bit annoying indeed. All Might perfunctorily treated the treatment girl, and carefully looked at Izuku's face. As expected, she is like an angel. I really want to touch her. Thinking of this, All Might stretched out his big hand and tried to touch Izuku's face. Super smooth, super soft, super nice to touch, I can't let go of her. All Might suddenly wanted to let his hand grow directly on Izuku's face. Hey, All Might, that's enough, you still have to go to class tomorrow, do you want to stay up late to write the record? Okay, Izuwa-kun, I'll do it right away. All Might, who was already scared by Izuwa's scolding, finally rubbed some oil on Izuku's face and walked back to his office. Really, I still have to treat the wounded in Class B, Izuwa, I'll leave this to you. The healing girl jumped off the chair. Hi, a rather weak response. Izuwa was almost lying on Izuku's entire bed, and next to him was Izuku with a bandage on his hand. A brat is still a brat, why does he cry when he falls asleep? Izuwa reached out his hand and tried to wipe away the tears from Izuku's eyes, but Izuku rolled over and dodged. Tisk, you're still a little stubborn, forget it, I don't bother to pay attention to you. Izuwa withdrew his hand, then closed his eyes and went to sleep. For a while, the health room became quiet. In class, although everyone was looking at the teacher's blackboard seriously, their minds had already flown to the health room. They wanted the get out of class to end immediately and then ran to the health room to see Izuku. There are still 10 minutes before the end of get out of class. Can't you go faster? I don't know how Fiju is doing now. I wonder if Izuku likes ice sculptures. Does little Izuku like flying high? I really want to change little Izuku into women's clothes. It must be super cute. Little Izuku should change into clothes that can be worn outside. By the way, Izuku-chan's current condition lasts for 3 days. Where is he going to sleep during these 3 days? He can't sleep in the health room. Chapter 51, The Sudden Appearance of Robots. 10 minutes later, when the bell rang, everyone rushed to the health room like flying. Where's Fiju? Where is Izuku? Bakugo and Todoroki asked as soon as they ran to the health room. In the health room, Monorama Nioto, who had a bandage on his arm, was talking to little Izuku. Hey, the violent maniac is here, hehe, you are unlucky. Little Izuku has been brainwashed by me and said that he would come to our class to play later. Monokuma Nioto's face was still so arrogant. Beat. Haiju, if you dare to go to that bastard's class, I will definitely beat you up. Bakugo was still so irritable. Little Izuku, why do you suddenly want to go to Class B? Todoroki Jiaodong picked up little Izuku and kept him away from Monoma Nioto, a guy who deserved a beating. Well, Brother Monorama said that if I go to play in their class, he will give me his All Might figure. Damned winner of life, All Might. This is what everyone is thinking. Why do you want his All Might figure so much? He said that his All Might figure is out of print and there aren't many. Everyone turned their attention to Monorama Nioto, who had a strange smile on his face. I'm not lying about this. I do have this out of print All Might figure. I can use it in exchange for little Izuku to come and play with our class for a day. It's not too much. I think you want to die. Kirishima, Kaminari, and Bakugo dragged Mononoma Nioto out of the health room. They wanted Mononoma Nioto to know that not everyone can kidnap our classmate. Go. But I've been thinking about a question. Erlang said while looking at little Izuku playing on Todoroki. Where will Izuku-chan sleep at night? This question made the health room suddenly become cold. Todoroki hugged little Izuku tightly with his hands and stared at the others tightly. Izuku has to sleep with me tonight. Uniang face, put down Fiju. The two started fighting again. Ara Allah, it seems that the final victory will be decided between those two people. I didn't expect that the guys in Class 1A would also fight among themselves. This is really big news. I see you haven't been beaten enough. Although Izuku was safely held in Todoroki's arms, looking at Bakugo's face that wanted to get rid of him quickly, Izuku couldn't help crying. Xiao Sheng is so scary. Izuku's cry made the two guys who were fighting stop, and also made those guys who were watching the show feel at a loss. Look, you made little Izuku cry again. Todoroki hugged Izuku and turned around so that Izuku couldn't see Bakugo's murderous face, but little Izuku was still there crying, although the sound was not loud, the look of crying was very distressing. No. I can't cry, I can't trouble others. I want to go home. Izuku's sobs became smaller and smaller, and he struggled to leave Todoroki's arms. I walked out of the health room alone. Izuku. Todoroki was stunned for a few seconds, and then followed Izuku, but as soon as Izuku walked out of the health room, a silver light flashed from the door of the health room, and Izuku was taken away. Who is that? Todoroki rushed out of the health room. When he turned around, he saw a robot running away with Izuku in his arms. He immediately used his personality to create an ice path and chased after him. Put it down for me. Bakugo also saw this scene and directly used his personality to chase after him. Izuku was captured. Such an idea suddenly flashed through everyone's mind, and they all ran out of the health room and used their personality to catch up. Protecting the master is the first priority. Send the master to All Might, whose trust value is 100%, to stop the pursuers. The mobile Pegasus thought so, and the output of the jet system on his back increased, and he quickly rushed to the second floor. At this time, All Might or Toshinori Yagi are writing tomorrow's lesson plan. I don't know why the basics of heroes actually writes lesson plans. Shouldn't it be a direct experimental operation? In short, Yagi Toshinori is currently writing lesson plans with great pain and hatred. Suddenly, the door to his office opened. Out of habit, Toshinori Yagi immediately transformed into the hero All Might, and saw Izuku's robot, called Mobile Pegasus, carrying the unconscious Izuku in. Hello, All Might, I have something to ask of you. Take good care of the master. Mobile Pegasus said a rare word. He put the sleeping Izuku on All Might's desk, then turned around and looked towards the door. They are coming soon, guard. The mobile Pegasus raised the wheel on its left arm. The shooting hole on the wheel opened and the wheel began to rotate. Bullets shot out from the wheel, directly smashing the office door. Be careful. The bullet directly stopped everyone. What's going on? Bakugo was almost hit by a bullet. Enemy? It's a bit tricky. Hong Xiaodong leaned against the wall, thinking of a solution. Mobile Pegasus, stop. All Might's voice stopped the mobile Pegasus. The mobile Pegasus looked at All Might, and after confirming again that its master's trust in All Might was 100%, the mobile Pegasus stopped attacking, turned around, walked to stand next to All Might. Students outside, you can come in. All Might continued to maintain his heroic appearance. After probing with ice cubes twice, Todoroki Shoto was the first to come in. As soon as he came in, he saw Izuku lying on All Might's table, and the silver-white robot was standing next to All Might. All Might, is this your thing? Todoroki looked at the robot with a strange look in his eyes. What is the purpose of this guy bringing Izuku to you? Bakugo came in second, and he really wanted to blow up the robot standing there. Please shut up, Bakugo Katsuki, whose trust value is only 90%. Mobile Pegasus said with its generator, and this sentence directly choked Bakugo. What do you mean by only 90%? Explain it to me clearly. Bakugo almost exploded, but it was just a little bit, because there was still number 1 here. Toruro Shoto's trust value is 0.1% higher than yours. He is the first to ask questions, and his priority is higher than Bakugo Katsuki. Mobile Pegasus said again, and Bakugo almost exploded again, but his behavior was stopped by All Might. Who are you? Why are you here? Todoroki glanced at the other people who came in, and then looked at the position where the robot was standing. He couldn't snatch Izuku back. I am Mobile Pegasus, the guardian of the master. You made the master cry. I can only hand the master over to All Might, who the master trusts 100%. The master's trust value is incorrect. Mobile Pegasus said this and moved closer to Izuku lying on the table. Master. It's Izuku? What is the trust value? All Might, take good care of the master. If possible, please take the master back to his home. The robot said, and then transformed into a motorcycle again. Chapter 52. This robot is really willful. All Might patted the Pegasus that turned back into a motorcycle, and then looked at everyone in Class 1A. Everyone knows now, then I will take little Izuku back to his home. All Might said, and picked up little Izuku who was lying on the table. Wait a minute. Todoroki Jiaodong suddenly stopped All Might. I remember that Izuku-san's mother seems to have traveled far away. All Might, will you take care of him? All Might suddenly thought that he seemed to be a noob who couldn't take care of himself. So, you still have to leave it to us. 8 million naturally took the little Izuku. In other words, do we have to spend the night at Izuku's house? Raihi-san was a little excited. We can't all go. Have you finished your homework? Those who are not in the top 5 can't go. Tomorrow will be the top 10, and the day after tomorrow will be the bottom 10. All Might cruelly divided everyone into groups. But Izuku is 4th, which means there will be an empty spot. Who is 6th? It's me. By the way, have you thought about how to explain to little Izuku that Aunt Midoriya has been away for half a month? All in all, Izuku accepted that his mother left home to play for half a month, and then he and his brothers and sisters returned to the door of his home. So, how should we get in now, little Izuku, do you have the key? No. Little Izuku jumped out of Mia Frog's arms and walked to the carpet in front of his house. Mom always sticks the spare keys under the carpet. Little Izuku opened the carpet, and a silver key was stuck on the carpet. Brothers and sisters, come in. Izuku invited his brothers and sisters into his home very hospitably. Well, excuse me. Several people walked into Izuku's house. Although they had been here once before, they didn't look much at it. We must find out what Izuku likes this time. Hey, classmate Todoroki, please put away your crazy face for a moment. So who's going to make dinner this time? 8 million asked. Todoroki-kun, can you do it? I only know how to make soba noodles. So I still have to do it. The loser likes to eat pork chops and rice. What about you? Bakugo-san, when did you put on your apron? Soba noodles. Just fried rice. I am also a fried rice eater. Is there beef stew? There are no ingredients for soba noodles. Let's eat fried rice together. Bakugo pretended not to notice, closing the cabinet with the soba noodles, and then started to make dinner. Whatever. Todoroki said, following little Izuku into the room. For the first time, I noticed that Izuku's room is a bit small. Todoroki Jiaodong looked at the room that was almost full of All Might's figurines and posters. Apart from these, there was only a desk, 2 wardrobes, and a bed. Brother Todoroki, have you ever been to my house? No. Hong Jiaodong's smile was as soft as jelly. Really? Little Izuku glanced at Todoroki, then climbed onto the desk and turned on the computer. Brother, can you get that doll for me? Izuku pointed to a doll placed on the bedside. What do you want to see? Todoroki obediently put the doll into little Izuku's hand. I want to watch this. Little Izuku happily moved the mouse and clicked on a file. There was a video there. Todoroki rested his hand on the chair while looking at the video. He clicked on it more than 100,000 times. Do you watch it almost every day? It started. Izuku happily watched the nearly half-an-hour video, from the initial bloody mess to the end when All Might rescued 100 people in 10 minutes. Izuku had been watching it with relish. Yes, at least, that's what Todoroki Jiaodong felt. Ha. Izuku held up the doll in his hand, and his tear ducts began to water unconsciously. He didn't know whether it was excitement or because his dream was shattered. He smiled and cried. It was Izuku. The only relaxed restrictions on crying to yourself. The meal is ready, Bakugo asked me to ask you to go out for dinner. Ida and the 8 million heads suddenly appeared outside Izuku's room. Then let's go eat. Okay. Izuku obediently turned off the computer, then jumped off the computer desk and was led to the restaurant by Todoroki Jiaodong. Hurry up and wash your hands and use chopsticks to eat. Okay. Izuku happily washed his hands, climbed onto the dining table, picked up a small spoon and started eating his portion of pork chop rice. Just as he was about to eat a piece of fried pork chop, he saw several people looking at him. Brother Todoroki, he even took out his phone to take pictures. Did I do something wrong? No, no, no. Ida and Ba Million shook their heads at the same time. Then, here's the pork cutlet for you to eat. Izuku distributed the pork cutlet on the rice to several people. It must be said that Bakugo's knife skills were pretty good, so everyone could get a piece. Thank you, Izuku-chan. I obviously made it, okay. Fichu. Why do you want to share it with them? I'm full. Little Izuku finished his dinner regardless and started his evening exercise. Damn it! You loser! How dare you ignore me? Bakugo was tightly restrained by Ida and 8 million. Brother, forget it. I wonder what everyone is doing now. Miu took out her phone and turned on the TV with her tongue. This personality is sometimes quite useful. Miu Frog Blow, have you finished your homework? Uraraka Okako, those who have finished their homework, come to me. Erlang Hibiki, report +1. Kamamura Denki, report +1. Mineta Minoru, report +1. Hagakure Toru, damn it, damn it, damn it. You guys go to this website. Someone is leaving the car. Hagakure Toru, oh, I went to the wrong group. Hagakure Toru retracted a post. Erlang Hibiki, okay. Uraraka Okako, I've been waiting for a long time, okay. Yamura Momo, okay, but it's a pity that I can't watch it. Kamamura Denki, what? What, leaving the car? Erlang Hibiki, idiot, go play your game. Mineta Minoru, where is it? I like to watch the leaving the car, he. Uraraka Okako, wow. I didn't expect that Mineta Minoru also knew about the car. Mineta Minoru, at least I know about cars. Mineta Minoru was banned for 1 hour by the administrator, Bibai Momo. Bibai Momo, no one is allowed to bring grape into the group, do you understand? Mio Wakawi, Bibai, the person sitting next to you is Hong, don't leak it. Bibai Momo, got it, let's chat privately later, and see the car before going to bed at night. Aoyamayuya. Continue to be elegant. Bakugo Katsuki and Todoroki Shoto, who were peeking at the screen, felt that something was wrong. Todoroki Shoto cast his eyes on Bibai Momo and Mio Wakawi. So what's the matter with that website? Mio Wakawi and Bibai Momo felt that the truth came from the two kinds of burning and cold eyes, the two worlds of ice and fire, which was quite exciting. Well, Izuku was doing push UPS in the living room, and the 5 people were looking at the things on the website. Wait, why did you, the class leader, also go to see it? Don't you want your personality? It's a waste if you don't watch it. I've already thrown away the character setting, okay? Hey! The final result is that a few people are sleeping on the floor and looking at their phones. The bedding is provided by 8 million friends. So, where is the last car? Why can't I see anything? It was banned as soon as it was released. How can it be fixed? Chapter 53, Training Ground. At 6 o'clock in the morning the next day, Izuku went out for training wearing the sportswear he asked his 8 million sister to make. I have to run 20 kilometers today. Little Izuku shouted, put the key back under the carpet, and ran towards the river. At 6:30 in the morning, several people got up dizzy. I shouldn't have looked at the web page for so long yesterday. But I just can't help it. Where is Izuku? Todoroki, who discovered that the door to Izuku's room was open, immediately stood up and ran to Izuku's room to take a look. Izuku is gone. What's going on? You guys are so noisy. Bakugo also lifted up the quilt. That loser just went for a morning jog, but I didn't expect that guy Juju to go for a morning jog so early. Bakugo scratched his head. Brain, have you been working so hard since you were a kid? So, do we want to follow him now? Then I'll make breakfast. The squad leader and Todoroki-kun will chase Izuku. 8 million put on his apron and walked into the kitchen. I want to go too. Bakugo followed Ida, Todoroki, and the others out of the door. Where did Izuku go? There is a river over there, and Fiju likes to run to that side of the river. Bakugo rushed to the river without hesitation. Let's go. The 3 of them ran towards the river. Riverside. Izuku used the stone to carve a mark on the pillar of the bridge. How many times has this been done? Many times Izuku looked at the pillar that was about to be drawn and smiled. After finishing the pillar, his physical fitness should be enough to pass the hero test. Bar. Continue. Izuku walked into a nearby small park, which has been turned into a secret base by little Izuku. There are a lot of training equipment here that even Bakugo doesn't know about. Today's training is leg raises and boxing. Izuku put on the punching bag and boxing gloves skillfully and started the morning training. The three of them ran to the bridge. Izuku is not here. Where did Izuku go? There are footprints on the ground, which means Midoriya has indeed been here just now. The footprints went in that direction. Ida pointed to a small park not far away. Izuku. Haiku, get the fuck out of here. Bakugo and Todoroki rushed into the small park. As soon as they rushed into the small park, they saw Izuku beating a sandbag that was hung on the iron railing. Brother Todoroki, Ka-chan, why are you here? Izuku wiped the sweat from his face with his fist gloves, and his little face suddenly turned grey. Go back and eat for me. Izuku, you have to tell your brothers and sisters next time you go out. Go back with your brother now. You have to go to school later. Todoroki said, trying to pick up Izuku, but Izuku dodged him. Isn't it still a long time before kindergarten starts? Bakugo and the other three didn't know how to answer Izuku's question. Bakugo forcibly carried Izuku home. I haven't finished training yet, why are you holding me back, you bad guy? Izuku kept struggling in Bakugo's arms. Shut up. Snort. Then, little Green Valley kid, this is your thing. At some point, B.A. Bibai took out a ticket from his back, with the image of Seongying School and a visit experience voucher painted on it. The reason why we are here is because of this paper. You can visit Seongying School for 2 days and we will have someone accompany you every day. Wow! Izuku took the visitor's ticket and gave Ida a thumbs-up gesture without any trace of it. So, we just brought you to Seongying School yesterday. Would you like to visit Seongying School with us? The answer is yes. Half an hour later, Izuku sat in Class 1A's seat. What's the first class? Little Izuku looked expectantly as he waited for the teacher. Everyone, today's Hero Basics course. It's still me who's going to teach. Ermet walked into the classroom. As soon as he entered the classroom, Ermet felt an incomparable gaze shining on his face. Is the gaze of the little Green Valley boy. It's All Might. I've met the real person. Izuku muttered quietly as he sat in his seat. Then I will take Little Green Valley. Others please put on combat uniforms and go to the training ground. This training is a 3-on-3 rescue training. 5 students will be the wounded, 3 students will be the rescue heroes, and 3 students will be the rescue heroes. As an enemy remnant, do you hear me clearly? The difficulty of this mission is a bit high. Another half hour later, Izuku was sitting at the designated casualty point, watching the 6 bosses in the sky fighting. The personalities of my brothers and sisters are so amazing. Little Izuku smiled enviously as he looked at the people fighting in the sky. I'm so envious, but... Izuku lowered his head, then raised his head again and continued watching. This scene was seen by All Might. Is it the same as the Izuku we first met? He is indeed a strong young man. The next group was deliberately divided into 2 groups by All Might, Bakugo and Todoroki. 8 million makes the zipline, Ida is going to rescue Kwaku, and I'm going to meet that yin-yang face. Bakugo said and rushed towards the enemy. So, just the 2 of us saving 5 people. Stop talking and act quickly. On the other side, Erlang heard the explosion caused by Bakugo. What Todoroki said is right. Bakugo came alone. This time it was Bakugo who made a mistake. Did he forget how important Izuku is to Todoroki? Or did he forget that his original mission was to save people? Oh no, he's getting close. Let's act well. Okay. There was another explosion. Todoroki pulled the corner of his mouth. This Bakugo was so stupid. He dared to snatch Izuku from me? He patted the dust on his left shoulder, then stood up and used his quirk to create an ice track to slide to the wounded point. Todoroki, are you cheating? Kirishima, who was lying on the wounded point as a wounded, curled his lips at Todoroki who came down the slide. Now he knew what this guy was here for. Just do your own thing. Todoroki said coldly, then picked up the dazed little Izuku and created another slide and ran away. It's over, we can't complete the training now. Please watch the double chase next. Yin Yang face, Put Feiju down for me. Why do I feel that Bakugo-san can only say this? After all, the author has never been beaten by Bakugo, whispering. Bakugo boy, go back to the training area, and bring Izuku, kid back to me. All Might shouted in the monitoring room. I'm sorry, I refuse. Put Feiju down for me. With a blast, Bakugo jumped in front of Todoroki Shoto. Wow, don't you think those two guys look like two thieves who are robbing something? They're so handsome. You should wear glasses, Leary. Kirishima, you straight man, go away. By the way, am I the only one who cares about the little Izuku in Todoroki's arms? He looks like he's going to go into shock again. You're just watching the show without saying anything. Do you want some popcorn? Give me some popcorn, thank you. The final ending is of course that All Might suppresses the whole scene, smashes Todoroki Shoto and Bakugo's faces into the ground, and then walks away with little Izuku in his arms. My apprentice is not a toy for you too. Maybe not a toy? Hee. Chapter 54, the day after Izuku becomes small. When Izuku woke up again, he saw the white ceiling again. The familiar ceiling. Izuku rubbed his eyes with his hands and sat up. Hey, Midoriya kid, did you sleep well? Izuku turned around and saw a dazzling All Might appearing there. All Might! Izuku shouted happily. He almost rolled off the bed, but fortunately All Might caught him. Be careful. I'm sorry, All Might. Are you a teacher here? Yes. All Might's smile was still so dazzling. Izuku was very excited because he talked to his long-admired idol, All Might. All Might, do you think you can become a hero without personality? Izuku asked loudly, closing his eyes. It's exactly the same problem as that time. All Might looked at little Izuku with his eyes closed, and thought of the boy standing on the rooftop holding a tattered notebook. You will definitely become a hero. All Might said to little Izuku with a dazzling light. Yet. Izuku waved his little hands happily. So, do you still want to attend the afternoon class with them? Yes. Izuku finally went to class with the rest of Class 1A, but Bakugo and Todoroki had a few extra bandages and band-aids on their faces. TCH, All Might. We must strive to surpass All Might. Otherwise, you can't get your wife back, right? Sun-A, who was sitting in front of Todoroki Jiaodong, saw through everything. The culprit is Orma. So today's homework is... Hey, Haku. Bakugo didn't know what happened, but he pushed Izuku's table as he was used to. Then Izuku, who was sitting on the table, couldn't sit still and fell backwards. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Everyone was watching Izuku fall to the ground. My Tonema. Mineta Minoru, who was sitting in the back seat of Izuku, suddenly exerted his strength, jumped over his desk, and reached out to hold Izuku in his arms. Boom! Mineta Minoru fell to the ground, and the table covered the two of them. Izuku, are you okay? Little Izuku, are you okay? Everyone stood up from their seats. Don't you care about me? Mineta Minoru opened the table, holding little Izuku in his arms, and there was a white red grape on his head, which was a big bag. Mineta, this is the most manly thing I've seen since I saw you. Kirishima gave a thumbs up without hesitation. I feel the same way. Shangming also gave a thumbs up, then scrolled down, if you don't want to be horny. Brother Mineta, this bump on your head is so big, doesn't it hurt? Izuku touched the big white red grape. It hurts. Chirp. Izuku kissed the big grape with his small mouth. It's painful to fly away. Izuku waved his arms happily. Everyone, oh, Mom, I saw an angel. When school ended in the evening, the top 10 classmates took Izuku home. 8,000,000, Izuku has a quilt I made at home, so you don't have to bring it yourself. Yurika Okako, thank you Bibai, but what about dinner? I can only cook instant noodles and scratch my head. JPG. Kaminari Electric, I can cook instant noodles. Erlang Xiang, aren't they all the same thing? Fortunately, I can do some cooking. Mineta Minoru, someone come and save me. Ever since I was kissed by Izuku, Bakugo and Todoroki have been chasing me and they won't stop. Kirishima Ajiro, there is no hope, just wait to die. Shangming Electric, waiting to die +1. Bakugo Katsuki, grape brain, you still have time to play with your phone while being chased by me, Nisuna. Mineta Minoru, I'm already in the air and feel good. Hong Xiaodong, I'll give you another tail flame. Shoji Mizo, I just saw a guy with a fire in his butt fly over my head, and he screamed so loudly. Mineta Minoru, even if I was thrown to death and exploded now, I would still scream. I'm taking care of Izuku today. Kaminari Denki, I have no desire to live, unlike me, I don't say anything even if I have to take care of Izuku. Erlang Xiang, the two of you above don't want to live anymore. Who has time to burn some paper money? Psy.jpg. Erlang Xiang, wait a minute, idiot, why are you taking care of Izuku? Kirishima Ajiro, I had something to do, so I followed Naru and replaced him. Kaminari Electric, let me tell you, Erlang, why didn't you take little Izuku home and take him to the supermarket? Erlang Xiang, buy clothes for little Izuku. Little Izuku is dirty and ugly now. Where are you, Mina? Ashido Sana, I'm on the 3rd floor, picking out clothes for little Izuku. Bakugo Katsuki, headphones, send me your current coordinates, I'm going there. Todoroki Jiaodong, I want it too. Ciro Norda, oh, now it's interesting again. I blindly guessed that Toru Hagakure was also in the supermarket. Hagakure, you know. Yayintaru, 098k, don't worry, leave it to me. Mineta Minoru, why do I feel like I've seen another good picture? Shoji Mizo, Mineta, are you still alive? Mineta Minoru, it landed exactly on the window glass of Izuku's house. Half of his face is now flat. Shangming Electric, very vivid 23,333. Kaminari Electric, how do you open the door to Izuku's house? We don't have a key either. Kaminari Denki, Duchita, please come back soon, we can't get into Izuku's house. Todoroki Shoto, the spare key is stuck under the carpet at the door of Izuku's house. Kaminari Denki, thank you, Todoroki. Shoji Mikura, let me handle the dinner. Kaminari Denki, oh, Shoji is surprisingly reliable. Duchita Hibiki, not like some idiot. Kaminari Denki, even this is being blamed. Yurika Okako, oh my god. Izuku looks so good in his angel costume, let me kneel down here, angel, please forgive my sins. Kaminari Denki, it's over, Yurika sacrificed herself, is there anyone else alive? Duchita Hibiki, also kneeling under the holy light. Ashido Mina, I surrender. Kaminari Denki, what about Todoroki and Bakugo? Hagakure Toru, they haven't come yet, but they're still kneeling even though they're here. My live streaming phone has exploded. I've been seeing people posting comments saying that Izuku is really an angel, and then my live streaming phone exploded. Toraji Shoto, I'll get you a better phone next time. Hagakure Toru, definitely, Izuku's angel photo.jpg. Kamimura Denki, I'm kneeling. Bakugo Katsuki, Weisaku, your smile is so disgusting. Waitaku's smile is so cute. Toraji Shoto, I took a screenshot and will send it to Izuku when he recovers. Bakugo Katsuki, you dare. Toraji Shoto, why don't you dare? Hagakure Toru, if you have the guts, don't blush. If you have the guts, don't hide behind the shelf and don't come out and fight. Kamimura Denki, what a great image, I've already imagined Bakugo hiding behind the shelf with a red face and peeking at the screen. Bakugo Katsuki, you want to die. Todoroki Shoto, I surrender, Izuku is so cute now. Tokigamo, this time, heaven wins. Kamimura Denki, oh no, even Tokigamo surrendered this time. Mineta Minoru, no one cares about me with a flat face? The next morning, I heard someone saw an angel running by the river. Chapter 55, Comic Exhibition is about to start. On the 4th day, Izuku successfully returned to his original body, but he knew nothing about what happened before. I'm fine now. I don't have to be attacked by Bakugo and Todoroki's eyes anymore. It really scared me to death the past few days. Kirishima twisted his neck. Yesterday, he was almost exhausted to death. Unexpectedly, Koichu is so good at playing, he can play until midnight. By the way, who gave him the energy drink yesterday? He was so noisy. Sana also moved her shoulders. I don't know, but I'm sure that when Izuku goes crazy, no one can stop him, and he can even make himself useless. Oshiro Saruo shook his arms, feeling sore. That is to say, He is still with the treatment girl, and he is out of power again. Qing Shan sat elegantly in his own seat. Although he was still smiling, the sweat on his forehead kept pouring down. Everyone has discovered the murderer. It's Qing Shan. But no matter what, Izuku has recovered now, so there is no need to trouble us. By the way, there is an English test in the next class, so please pay attention. No, as soon as the previous trouble left, the next one followed. 8 million to save my life. Now I'm super envious of Midoriya, who is lying on the hospital bed without any strength. He doesn't have to take exams. What? Do you want to take a test? Midoriya opened the classroom door with a tired look. Izuku, how are you? Ida stood up. Well, thanks to the healing girl, my cold is gone. Izuku said and sat back down. That's good, hurry up and sit back down. Ida said, pressing down with his hand to make everyone quiet. Izuku, you haven't reviewed for the past few days, is that okay? Probably. Izuku still felt that his body was a little soft. During the exam, Izuku bit his black pen. Well, these questions are not too difficult. After the exam, Izuku felt that he still needed a good rest. Really, this body still needs to be tempered. Izuku said, lying on his desk to rest. Other me, you don't need to exercise, but you need to rest. Maybe, just like All Might, when he is outside, he has to maintain the side of him that cannot be defeated, so I still have to train hard. Izuku shook his head, then stood up from his position and went to the toilet to wash his face. After waking up, Izuku returned to his seat and started studying. Learning makes me happy. The next morning, Izuku browsed the information on his phone while eating breakfast. Hey! There is actually a comic expo in this city, and it's on Saturday and Sunday. Haha, what a God-given opportunity. I'm going to have a few more All-Mate figures. Izuku smiled, and kept himself close to half a year's worth of small treasury was taken out. After weighing the piggy bank carefully, Izuku slowly took out the money from the piggy bank. 1,000, 2,000, 300,000, he. He let out a silly smile that was unique to Izuku. Until Friday, Izuku was still in a super beautiful mood, which made the whole class curious. Kaminari Denki, I admit, Izuku looks good when he smiles, but now I am very curious about why Izuku keeps smiling. Mineta Minoru, I know. Hong Jiaodong, say it quickly. Bakugo Katsuki, Feiju's smile is so disgusting. Pudao, please tell me quickly. I really want to punch Feiju in the face right now. Yurika Okako, this sentence should be read in reverse. Kaminari Electric, look backwards, I understand. Erlang Xiang, does idiot face really understand? Shanming Electric, I'm actually pretty smart, okay? Mineta Minoru, do you want me to say anything else? Tinya Ida, hurry up and say it, I will be silenced after you finish speaking. Mineta Minoru, then I won't say anything. Bakugo Katsuki, I think you want to ascend to heaven again, right? Hong Jiaodong, say it quickly. Mineta Minoru, full of threat. Mineta Minoru, okay, I said that's it. In fact, Midoriya is going to attend the Comic-Con held in this city on Saturday and Sunday. Mineta Minoru, already voluntarily offline. Bakugo Katsuki, where is the location? Hong Jiaodong, where is the location? Shangming Electric, this kind of thing can be found by searching online. Shangming Electric, it should be this, XXX location, comic exhibition event will be held soon, time is X month X day. Shangming Electric, it looks like a lot of fun. Do you want to go together? Erlang Xiang, idiot face finally asked a good question, I want to go. Plum Rain Frog Chewy, I want it too. Kaminari Denki, I'm very smart, okay, and I'm also handsome. Erlang Xiang, give you a chance to reorganize the language, otherwise I will release the picture. Shangming Electric withdrew a message. Yekakutu, I want to go too. Where can I meet? Always in darkness, follow the darkness. Hong Jiaodong, I will go too. Kaminari Electric, Bakugo isn't going? Bakugo Katsuki, hey? Bakugo Katsuki, what should I do there? Idiot face. Kaminari Electric, forget it if you don't go. By the way, Todoroki and Midoriya will go. There's a good show to watch, quietly. Bakugo Katsuki, what? Fiju and Yin Yang Lien will also go? Kaminari Electric, yes. Bakugo Katsuki, then I'm going too. Ciro Norda, in a real sense, if there is a good show to watch, Kaminari can do it. 8,000,000, Comic-Con? Never been? How about adding me? Yurika Okako, I want to go too. Ida Tinya, don't you want to study? Kamimura Denki, I just finished my Chinese language test, so it's okay to take a break. Ashido Sana, yes, add me to the comic convention. Ida Tinya, the final exam is in 4 weeks, and you guys. Kamimura Denki, isn't there 8 million? The first place should help us review. Kirishima Ajiro, I've asked Bakugo to help me review. Midoriya Izuku, let Kakan help you review, Bakugo Katsuki, is there any problem? Midoriya Izuku, not at all. But speaking of reviewing, I really should review math and English. Todoroki Shoto, Izuku, you can come to me if you need to review. Bakugo Katsuki, hey? You? Can you teach me? The 5th place, Fiku, I'll teach you. Todoroki Shoto, let's see who wins this time. Ashido Mina, you can accompany Izuku out for a day. Kaminai Denki, good job, Mina, give me a thumbs up manually. Bakugo Katsuki, let's compete, who's afraid of who? Uraraka Okako, spend a day with Izuku? If you round it up, it's just. Mineta Minoru, date. Mineta Minoru withdrew a message. Mineta Minoru, just pretend you didn't see it, I'm going back to read the book, Ida, please help me. Mineta Minoru was muted for an hour by the administrator Ida Tinya. Ida Tinya, no trouble, by the way, if it's a comic exhibition, add me. Kaminai Denki, class monitor, you have changed. Ida Tinya, just now, a relative's child asked me to buy a figure that can only be sold at comic exhibitions. I couldn't refuse, but everyone should not stop learning. Kaminai Denki, class monitor, I remember you seemed to be 4th. Ida Tinya, why do you say that? Suddenly my back and asshole felt cold. Erlang Xiang, stop watching the show and improve your score for the 20th place first, you idiot. Shangming Electric, you are so cruel. Chapter 56, Pipa. On Saturday morning, Izuku walked out of the house happily with a big bag on his back. At the same time, the people who had made an appointment with 1A also walked out of their own houses. Shoku. Aren't you going to see your mother? Todoroki's sister looked at Todoroki who was putting on her shoes. I went there last night. She was fine. Todoroki paused. Dad will be back for dinner tonight. Want one? Yet. Todoroki paused, then continued to put on his shoes. I won't be back for dinner tonight. Shoku. The sister reached out her hand, and in return, the sound of the door closing came. On the other side, Bakugo's house. Smelly boy. Remember to take out the garbage. I know, stinky old woman. Remember to bring Izuku over for dinner tonight. Okay. Izuku took the bus to the place where the comic exhibition was held. Wow! It's so lively here. Haha. Izuku weighed his backpack and wallet, and walked into the comic exhibition with a smile. Not far behind him, a mobile phone was floating. Hagakure Toru, everyone, have you arrived? Kamimura Denki, I'm taking the bus. Yamoyomi Yoro, I'm looking for the way. Miro Hibiki, we're almost there. Chang'an Taean, there are so many people here, so bright. Bakugo Katsuki, damn, why is it so crowded here? Todoroki Shoto, I'm almost there. Ida Tinya, I saw the venue of the comic exhibition. Hagakure Toru, it turns out that not many people have arrived. Then I have to start live streaming again. Thank you Todoroki for the new phone you gave me. Todoroki Shoto, you're welcome. Kamimura Denki, just take a good picture of Izuku. Miro Hibiki, Todoroki level 10. Hagakure Toru followed Izuku closely with the mobile phone he used for live streaming, and Izuku was completely unaware. Boss, how much is this All Might figure? Izuku stood in front of an All Might figure in the All Might store, with a perverted expression on his face. Izuku's expression now looks like a pervert. Idiot, you're done. Idiot face. Nishiyuki. Izuku is so cute. That one just now was definitely a blast. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Several comments were interspersed on the live page. Izuku happily put the All Might figure into his backpack. Judging from the live screen, Izuku's backpack can still hold at least 3 All Might figures. Where is Izuku going now? Oh, by the way, where are you? I'm at the door. I'm also at the door, I'm Ida, everyone gather at the door together. I don't care, but there may be 2 guys who don't get along with the group who entered the comic exhibition venue in advance. Idiot face, you know who it is without saying anything. Wait, why are there so many people watching this live broadcast room? Ida suddenly realized that in just less than half an hour, there were nearly 100,000 viewers. Wow, I didn't expect Izuku to be so popular. SHH, keep your voice down, if the phone explodes again, no one will be able to watch. This time, Bakugo and Shoto Todoroki reached a rare consensus. Izuku walked and watched, and suddenly, a familiar sound of music attracted Izuku's attention, and his fingers trembled unconsciously. That sound, could it be? Izuku walked towards the direction of the music. Why did Izuku go to another place? There is a beautiful girl over there. The one above is definitely Grape, you should quit the class. Izuku squeezed through the crowd, and the music became louder and louder. It's this sound, another me, I want to play that thing. What on earth is it that fascinates me so much, another me? An instrument I particularly like, I think I found it somewhere before. Izuku got out of the crowd and saw a young lady in ancient costume playing the 5-string pipa. That's it. Izuku suddenly felt a throbbing in his heart. Humph, who still plays the pipa now? That old-fashioned thing should have been eliminated long ago. Now it's the world of guitars and rock music. Suddenly, several people with guitars rushed out of the crowd and surrounded the young lady playing the pipa. What do you want to do? This is our place for classical music. Get out of here, you rock music people. The young lady didn't look easy to mess with. Humph, do you think we rock music people will be so violent? We are here to compete fairly. It's still the old rules. Whoever loses will leave this comic exhibition. You. The young lady's face flushed, but she didn't have any solution. If she really used a fair competition, she would definitely lose. What? Are you scared? Who would be scared? Hey! Another me, what should I do now? Leave it to me, but we may have to buy one less All Might figure. Izuku shook his head, took out a mask from his backpack and put it on, then walked towards the surrounded young lady. Young lady, I can actually play the pipa a little bit, are you piking here? Can I join in? Izuku deliberately lowered his voice. Get out of here, you teenage brat. A man holding a guitar suddenly raised his hand to hit Izuku, but Izuku caught him immediately. I didn't expect the brothers in rock music to be so irritable. Can I just say that they are worthy of being in rock music? Izuku smiled and looked at the older brothers. So, can I participate in one? Izuku let go of his hand and said with a smile. No problem. The young lady naturally hopes that someone can help her. But you don't even have a musical instrument, how can you compete with us? The man rubbing his wrist said in a low voice. I think this young lady should have an extra pipa. The 5-stringed one is best. Izuku said as little as possible. No problem, I'll get it right away. The little sister turned around and ran to her booth. Izuku picked up the 5-string pipa that the little sister had dropped on the ground, sat on the red chair and started tuning. Other me, is that okay? Just leave it to me, but can I buy a 5-string pipa? Let's get through this first. I always feel like someone is watching me. Feel the same. Izuku lowered his head and continued to adjust the lute. Pipa is here. Thank you. Izuku returned the pipa in his hand to the little sister, and then took the pipa handed over by the little sister. How to compare? Izuku didn't know where he moved a stool and sat on it. His school bag was placed next to the stool. Izuku hugged his pipa and lowered his eyes. Hurry up and go back after the competition. I wonder if you still have the All Might figure? Since we are challenging you, of course it is your choice. Then let's see who has more tricks. Izuku said, pulling the microphone in front of him and the little sister. Just follow my rhythm. As he said that, Izuku started playing the pipa. The young lady was stunned for a moment and quickly followed. For a while, two soft and melodious pipa sounds floated in this small world. This is not the sound of pipa. A cosplay man said immediately. Of course this is not the sound of the pipa, this is the Chinese gahan. Izuku said with drooped eyelids. The next moment, Izuku turned his hand, and a strong smell of Indian curry filled Izuku's eyes. Surrounded by pipa. This is India's sitar. Izuku's eyelids continued to droop. Little sister, I don't ask you to hold on here, but the next section is the shamisen of my country. You have to follow it well. Izuku let go immediately after playing, crossed his legs directly, and began to play freely and freely. Play the music of Indian sitar. After playing for nearly a minute, Izuku glanced at the young lady who had stopped to notice that Izuku was pretending to be cool, and spoke. Little sister, shamisen, you have to follow me. Izuku's gestures changed again, and a familiar music played. The little sister imitated Izuku's gestures, playing two different types of shamisen. Surrounded by the crowd, more and more people came here to watch. Next, we move to Spain. Izuku said, his gestures changed again, and a brisk music sounded. This is called castanets, and then it's classical guitar. A strong American flavor came out, and several people holding electric guitars felt bad. Then comes the folk guitar. Someone listened to the sound of the folk guitar playing on the pipa, and couldn't help humming a few familiar English songs. Finally, it's the electric guitars these guys are holding. The gestures changed again, and a strong sense of déjà vu came from the sound of an electric guitar coming from Izuku's pipa. This. Everyone was shocked. The faces of the men holding electric guitars turned pale. They knew they lost. Let's go. The leader turned around and left, and the other men quickly followed. Did I let you go? Izuku's expression changed, and Zhen Grong's voice exploded. Chapter 57, Ending and Misunderstanding. Zhang. Izuku moved his hand, and a murderous aura suddenly emerged. Music knows no borders, but it's no fun when you're aggressive. This song, House of Flying Daggers, is for you. Izuku said, his hands moving unabated, and he plucked the strings a few more times, chasing after the shadow of flying knives. The hearts of the few people who escaped disappeared in an instant, and murderous intent overflowed. Everyone felt like there was a butcher knife hanging on their necks, which was so cold that the few people who escaped did not even dare to move. Izuku played the lute faster and faster, causing an afterimage. Gather the troops. Izuku's hand slowed down, but his murderous intent did not diminish at all, so that someone saw a decisive army gathering behind Izuku. Surround. Izuku's hand began to produce afterimages again, and the army surrounded everyone who was listening to the music again, with swords, guns, swords and halberds unsheathed. Go. The army began to slowly approach the crowd. Although I know it's because of the music, I'm so scared now. It's so scary. Some of the young men holding electric guitars were so frightened that they didn't even dare to move. Some of them closed their eyes but were frightened by the imaginary army coming from all directions to kill them. The silver bottle bursts, water bursts out, and the cavalry protrudes with swords and guns. Somehow, Izuku suddenly remembered these two sentences. Izuku's hand speed became faster and faster, and from time to time, scarlet blood flowed on the ground. The song was coming to an end. The smell of blood made the atmosphere more solemn at this time, and some timid girls burst into tears. The one who was scared to cry, Izuku, was sitting in the crowd in the middle. Everyone was 4 or 5 meters away from him, and the chilling aura was circulating around Izuku, as if there were several blood-clothed guards guarding Izuku with blood-stained blades, and the kingly aura was surrounding Izuku. The body suddenly appeared, also full of murderous intent. I was frightened by the sound of Izuku's lute. Mom asked me why I was kneeling to watch the live broadcast. Izuku is so handsome now. Izuku's little angel is making crazy calls. Little angel Izuku is so amazing. Great victory! Retreat the troops! Izuku's last few plucks of strings symbolized the triumphant return of the army to the city after a great victory. Although it was a bit superfluous, Izuku felt that this was quite interesting. It took a few minutes for everyone to realize that they were actually possessed by a pipa song. Applause and cheers were heard endlessly, but Izuku just bandaged his cut finger, and then looked at the young lady who was also forced back by the sound of the lute. Miss, how much does your pipa cost? I bought it. Gilu. The young lady swallowed. This, I don't want your money. I gave this pipa to you as a thank you gift for helping me. No, money still has to be given. I'm sorry, I only have so much now. Izuku took out 100,000 yuan from his wallet and put it on the stool. Then I'll leave first. Also, I had a lot of fun playing today, thank you. Izuku said, pulling on his mask, carrying the loot on his back, and squeezed out of the crowd. Ha, now I only have more than 4,000 yuan left. It seems that the only option is to buy ultimate buckles. Do we really have to use our savings? Izuku thought as he walked into a figure store again. Kaminari Denki, Izuku's pipa sound just now really scared me. I thought I was surrounded by enemies. Erlang Xiang, I never thought that Izuku could play the pipa, and he was so. I couldn't find words to praise him. Tinya Ida, why did my chest suddenly feel relieved? Tomeo Ibuki, you're not the only one who's relieved. What about Bakugo and Todoroki-san? Toru Hagakure, I saw them. They seem to be following Izuku-san. Now Izuku-san seems to be wondering which all-mate figure to buy. Toru Hagakure appeared. Izuku took out his bank card and came out holding the out-of-print all-might figure. Todoroki-san and Bakugo-san were ready to take action. Kaminari Denki, I saw it too. It seemed like the two of them were trying to steal Midoriya-san. 30 seconds later. Kaminari Denki, oh, it's over. The out-of-print all-mate figure Izuku held in his arms was damaged by Bakugo and Todoroki. Midoriya-san is super angry right now. Mineta Minoru, now I can't wait to slap a smash on each of their faces. Kaminari Denki, wow, that's so vivid. Wait, Mineta, how did you know? Mineta Minoru, I was at the comic exhibition too. Kaminari Denki, it's over, Izuku pushed Bakugo and Todoroki-kun and ran away. I seem to hear, I hate Kiken and Todoroki-kun the most. Yurika Okako, wow. Is it so exciting now? I also saw that Bakugo and Todoroki seem to be petrified. Now that they are hated by Izuku, I don't have a chance. Yurika Okako retracted a message. Erlang Xiang, Leary has a strong desire to survive, unlike some idiot. Shanming Electric, I'm very smart, okay? Mineta Minoru, it's finished. A misunderstanding has occurred. Shanming Electric, what happened again? Mineta Minoru, Izuku just came to my place. This is the adult area. Ida, please don't ban me yet, I have something to say. Tinya Ida, I'm listening. Mineta Minoru, as soon as Izuku ran over, he saw an adult magazine on the ground with Bakugo and Todoroki on it. Mineta Minoru, and it's a pretty erotic picture. I took a quick look at Izuku's expression, and it went from disgust to blushing to understanding, wow. I felt like Izuku-san was about to fly. I would rather never see that expression in my life. It wasn't crying, but it was uglier than crying, and he kept saying, no wonder, no wonder. It scared me to death. Mineta Minoru, Izuku is ready to go out now, our little angel has died. Bakugo, Todoroki, come out and get beaten. Bakugo Katsuki. Hong Jiaodong. Todoroki, I will explain it to Izuku. Kaminari Denki, this time it's really Bakugo and Todoroki's fault, it's over. Erlang Xiang, damn it +1, it will probably take a long time for Izuku to recover from his anger this time. You'd better be prepared for Izuku not to join the group chat. Tinya Ida, well, I can't help you, so I'm silent. Toru Hagakure, silence +1 Izuku seems to be full of low pressure right now, and I don't dare to get too close. Yurika Okako, it makes me really sad to see Izuku like this. Kirishima Eijiro. I mean I can't help you, brother. Bakugo Katsuki, who wants your help? I will take care of it myself. Kaminari Electric, sit back and watch Bakugo hit the wall. Kirishima Eijiro, +1 for watching the movie. Bakugo Katsuki, Nisuna. Tinya Ida, according to psychological research, the signs of Izuku's blackening are super obvious now, so you'd better be prepared. Bakugo Katsuki, I'll go to Haikyuu's house at night and beat him back on track. Todoroki, I will take care of Izuku. Kaminari Denki, don't you think that if you go to Izuku's house without any explanation, Izuku's darkness will not deepen? Erlang Xiang, express doubts. Mineta Minoru, my suggestion is that tomorrow, we go to Izuku's house together, and then let Bakugo and Todoroki-kun apologize, and then we can explain the misunderstanding. Erlang Xiang, this pervert finally came up with a good idea. Mineta Minoru, Bakugo and Todoroki-san, you can just keep an eye on Izuku. It's best to see how far Izuku has darkened so that we can arrange rescue measures. 8,000,000. Do I need to prepare a psychological counselor? Erlang Xiang, Bibai, you finally showed up. Always in darkness, darkness is shrouding the angels, and sins are added to them, eventually turning into iron-colored thorns. This time it is dangerous. Always in the dark, dark feast. Chapter 58, Self-Comfort in School. At night, after dinner, Izuku sat on the sofa and watched TV. Although he was still angry with Xiaosheng and Todoroki-kun for breaking the all-mate figure he just bought, Izuku himself was no longer angry. That's weird. As expected. I'm still a little angry, Izuku thought of the all-mate figure that was broken into two halves by Kiken and Todoroki-kun. You should take it back and stick it with glue. It can be used again. Izuku took out the all-mate figure from his backpack and put it on the figure shelf. This figure was already part of his collection. This is the 54th figure, and the value of each all-mate figure is basically more than 100,000 yuan. Ah, the figure shelf is almost full again. It looks like I have to save money to buy a new figure shelf. Izuku scratched his head and started today's push-up training. It's another text message from Sister Cow Cow. Jonah, when are you going to come and play with me? I'm so bored. Sister, I will take the final exam next month. I should go to China to visit you in August or September. I don't care, or else I'll just go and play with you. This should be no problem. I don't really understand. I have been reviewing almost all of it in the past few days. I don't care, anyway, I will go to your place to play on the 26th, and I just discovered something interesting. A photo from a comic show. Explain. Is that the boy holding the peepa? Why sister, you will know. Don't worry about this. I didn't expect you to actually play the peepa. You must give me a world tour when the time comes. I won't leave until you play. Rolling all over the floor. But, sister, if you come to play with me, won't there be any problems with writing? If I want you to take care of it, hurry up and practice the music for me. Yes. Izuku smiled slightly, his sister is still so willful. Seeing that her god brother answered her, Cow Cow turned off her phone. She sat on the armchair with her legs crossed and looked at the Minister of National Defense opposite with an evil smile. So, do you accept our conditions? Half an hour later, Cow Cow and her two subordinates, a man and a woman, walked out of the minister's office gracefully. Miss, where should we go next? Go and see my god brother. But miss, Master's side. Humph, Dad's brother will naturally take care of it. Besides, I have to develop my own power now. Don't you think Jonah can do the job? Are you planning to set up your own business? World Snake doesn't need trash, let alone antiques. But, I know. Falm, you are indeed the best. Cow Cow's face always has an unpredictable smile. In the office of the Minister of Defense, the secretary stood next to the minister, looking like he wanted to ask but didn't dare. Mitsui, if you have any questions, just ask them. Sir, why do you agree to that woman's conditions? Mitsui, you don't know that although the world is now dominated by heroes, in front of the country, a hero is just a code name for a person. The battle between countries has never been led by one person. However, a group can, and that woman is not only a businessman, but also an arms maker known to the outside world. The Queen is a terrifying person. She has more arms than our entire country. She also has an extremely powerful army under her hands, all of which are elites selected from the special forces of various countries. We can't mess with this kind of person. We can't talk about this matter casually with outsiders. Mitsui, you should know how to do it. Yes sir. At this time, at Izuku's house, Izuku took out the lute from his piano bag and started talking and singing to himself. Bakugo and Todoroki were hiding outside the wall of Izuku's house, quietly listening to Izuku playing and singing. The loser doesn't look black, and he plays the pipa quite nicely, but when did this loser know how to play the pipa? It is necessary to investigate. The music Izuku plays is very nice, I want to join in. Wait for Izuku, to fall asleep and then attack at night. Hey, you two are really devils. It was late at night, and Izuku stopped talking and singing to himself. He put his pipa back into his piano bag and walked to the bathroom. The water falling from the shower head in the bathroom wetted Izuku's body. The two troublemakers had a rare meeting and leaned against the bathroom window to watch Izuku take a bath. There was no doubt that he was an idiot. Kaka, kaka, kaka. Todoroki Jiaodong started taking 10 shots of Midoriya taking a shower. What's the sound? Izuku turned his head and looked at the window, but there was nothing. Maybe I heard it wrong. Izuku sat in the bathtub filled with hot water. Hey, I feel much more comfortable like this, but I'm still a little angry. That's an out-of-print All-Might figure. I'm super unhappy. But what if you're not happy? One is Ka-chan and the other is Todoroki-kun. Forget it, it's just a figurine. I can buy it next time I see an out-of-print one. Now I need to polish myself. I want to be a hero, so I can't be defeated by this. Okay, after taking a bath, I will continue to study tactics. I can't relax when fighting the enemy. Izuku said this and continued to soak in the bath. But, Coco's sister is coming over, which is very embarrassing. On the 26th, although it's Saturday, I still have to go out with my sister. Izuku stood up from the bath and picked up a yukata hanging on the rack. The loose yukata covered his muscles. Bakugo's face turned red. Bakugo, don't cover your face with your hands, be careful not to fall. Tisk, useless sister? It's really a tricky guy, just blow it up. You want to kill Izuku's sister? Then go ahead, anyway, I'm the winner in the end. Todoroki said this, jumped off the windowsill and took out his mobile phone. Todoroki Shoto, Izuku is now in a stable mood and doesn't need anyone to counsel him. Mineta Minoru, that's good, but Bakugo and Todoroki should buy something to compensate him. Shangming Electric, I didn't expect that Mineta Minoru, who is full of sex appeal, could come up with such a powerful plan. I misjudged you before. Mineta Minoru, I'm much smarter than you. I'm ranked 20th. On Monday, Izuku arrived at the class at 7 o'clock again. He took out his mobile phone and started to browse today's information. Hey? There's an office opened nearby? I wonder which hero it is. Izuku found a piece of information that interested him among the many pieces of information. World Snake? World Snake? I wonder who the hero of this office is. Izuku thought as he took the book out of his school bag. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Todoroki Shoto and Bakugo arrived at the class at the same time. When Izuku saw them, his face began to blush again. No, I have to cheer myself up now. Even if Kiken and Todoroki are together, it's none of my business. Izuku patted his face and continued reading. Bakugo and Todoroki saw Izuku patting his face, and they knew that this was a big misunderstanding. Bakugo first rubbed his hair and then walked in front of Izuku. Hey! Fiku! Ka-chan, what's the matter? Izuku looked at his childhood friend and smiled. Bakugo and Todoroki had seen this smile before, it was the familiar smile of an ant. Your smile is so fucking ugly. This is my apology for breaking your figurine last time. Keep it here. Also, remember this. I have nothing to do with that guy with a yin-yang face. Chapter 59, Apology and New Training Clothes. Ka-chan has nothing to do with Todoroki-kun, and what does it have to do with me? Izuku thought so and stood up, carefully accepting Bakugo's apology. Thank you, Kiken. Izuku said so, and put the apology under the stool, with a very calm expression, but it was this calm expression that irritated Bakugo, and Bakugo pulled up Izuku's collar. What kind of attitude is that? Trash. Suddenly, there was a moment when Izuku wanted to punch Bakugo in the face, but thinking about the consequences afterwards, Izuku decisively threw this idea behind his mind. I don't have any attitude. Izuku waved his hands in panic, looking at his childhood friend with fear. Tisk. Trash is trash. Bakugo let go of Izuku's collar with a look of disdain. Izuku, I'm sorry for breaking your All-Might figurine. This is an apology. Todoroki half-bowed and handed Izuku a well-wrapped box. At least during the 10 years when he lost contact with Izuku, his bastard father taught him etiquette, which he used at this time. Oh, so you are here for this matter. Actually, I am not angry about you breaking my figurine. Izuku gave the two guys who broke his figurine a bright smile. During class, after half an hour of investigation, Bakugo and Todoroki took their eyes off Izuku. What's wrong with Kiken and Todoroki? You stared at me for so long before, and my legs were weak. Why bother? Bakugo is probably thinking about how to beat you in the next Hero Basics class, and Todoroki should be thinking about how to surpass you. The three of us are all strong personalities. It's just Xiao Sheng and Hung Jun. Although I inherited one foral, I haven't awakened my Q at all. That's why we have to work harder to train our bodies. And we still have that trump card. By the way, speaking of beating the body, I remember we ordered a set of fitness equipment from Fei. I wonder if she has finished it. Let's go and have a look after class. Okay. Izuku shook his head, his eyes became clear again, and he continued to look at the teacher's blackboard. It seems that Izuku's spirit has really recovered. The angel has returned to the world. The notebook. He. Ah, the grades are still not going up. As expected, I can only find 8 million to make up for the lessons. The next class is Hero Basics. I guess there will be trouble again. The get out of class was over. Bakugo and Hong Xiaodong were about to say something to Izuku, but Izuku suddenly stood up and walked out of the class. What is Izuku going to do? I don't know, Tuko, I'll leave it to you again this time. Why do I feel like a paparazzi now? Although Tuko said this, he still followed with his phone. Izuku finally came to the assistance class and found Famu Ming. Famous, is the thing I made ready? Izuku leaned against the door of Famu's laboratory and said to Famu, who was still fiddling with the robot. It's ready. You can rest assured that I'm doing things. I'm Famu, hehe. Famu turned his head and wiped the dust off his face, then turned around and took out a device suitable for Izuku's body. I call this thing a body shaper. It can shape your whole body. Of course, this thing is not so easy to use. After you put it on, these buckles will automatically lock until you can fully bear it. These buckles will open. This is a full-scale crushing exercise. I have set a ton of weight for you in advance. You should be able to bear it. Are these things of yours waterproof? Of course. Then Izuku will put them on now. Izuku said, and began to untie his belt. Take it. Fei put the body shaper on the ground. Izuku took off all his clothes except for his underwear and put on the body shaper. Click, click, click. The sound of buckles buckling sounded on Izuku's body. The sudden increase in gravity almost pushed Izuku to the ground. Finally, Izuku hummed a few times, then stood up and started to put on his clothes. How do you feel? I can still bear it, but I may not be able to exert my strength. Izuku said this and buckled his belt, then made a few punching movements. Sure enough, he could not exert his strength at all, and almost all of his strength was used to adapt to the weight of 1 ton. By the way, what if I adapt to this strength and want to continue? Turn the dial on the wrist of your left hand, 1 is 1 ton, 2 is 2 tons, and so on, the highest is 5 tons, this is the only way for now. If you can bear it, you can come and change to 10 tons at any time. Okay, no problem. Izuku said this, put on his coat, tied a tie casually, and then turned and walked out of the auxiliary class. Next time I want something custom made, I will come to you again. No problem, as long as the money is enough. Izuku walked back to his class. Although his steps were still a little staggering, he still insisted on walking back. Standing at the door of the class, Izuku wiped the sweat from his forehead. Hey, the next thing is to survive the next Hero Basics. It seems that I need to adapt first. With that, Izuku continued to walk his staggering body towards the locker room. He wanted to enter the training ground in advance for training. Well, for this Hero Basics, everyone should go to the training ground for self-training. All Might, who was supposed to come to class, can't come because of something unexpected. Said Aoki Sawada, scratching his neck. Yes. By the way, teacher, Izuku has already gone to the training ground. It should be okay. Ida Tinya suddenly stretched out his hand and asked. Troublesome guy, I was planning to have a good sleep. Let's go to the training ground. Seiki Sawada pulled the restraint cloth on his neck and decided that if he saw Midoriya Izuku, he would definitely hang this kid upside down in the sky for an hour. After changing into their combat uniforms, everyone in Class 1A entered the training ground. Where will Izuku-san train? With such questions in mind, everyone came to the training ground. As soon as they entered the training ground, they saw a familiar figure, who was training with a bow and arrows while looking at the erected target. Arrows. 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 3 arrows were shot at the target, and Izuku put down his hands. He put his hands on his knees and panted heavily. Sure enough, 3 arrows in a row are still too exhausting for my physical strength, and my hands. Izuku looked at his left hand, which had turned slightly purple while resting. It seems that I have to change the way of training. There is murderous intent. Izuku jumped on the spot, and a big explosion suddenly hit. Waste, fight with me. Bakugo looked at Izuku with his eyes wide open, and his expression looked quite angry. This guy has become stronger again. He should have just stayed behind me. Waste. I can't fight with Kiken now. Izuku thought so, then turned around and started to run away. Waste. Don't run. It's over. It looks like I'll be beaten up by Ka-chan this time. Looking at Kiken getting closer and closer, Izuku looked helpless. How about trying our new moves? I think I'll be beaten up even more after trying it. Then keep running. Izuku was finally pinned to the ground and rubbed by Kiken, physically. Humph. Waste is waste. Let Izuku go. A sudden flame attacked, forcing Bakugo, who was rubbing Izuku, to retreat, and Hung Jun took action. Yin Yang face. Do you fucking want to fight? I just want you to let Izuku go, but if you want to fight, I'll accompany you. I haven't taken it seriously at the sports festival yet. 2 sharp eyes collided in the air, making crackling thunder and lightning sounds. Oh, are these 2 giants going to fight? Teacher Aizawa, do you care about this kind of thing? Just don't make too much noise to disturb my sleep. Aizawa Shota said as he put on earmuffs and huddled into his sleeping bag. What should we do then? And what about Izuku? I don't know either. Anyway, we can just watch the show now. Chapter 60, Combat Training with Ashura-kun. The 2 men's fight ended in vain, and they ended the fight under All Might's strong suppression. I was just a little late, and you guys are so troublesome. You are such a troublesome guy. All Might picked up Izuku who was lying on the ground, but as soon as he picked him up, All Might felt something was wrong. Midoriya, have you become heavier? Hey? No, All Might, my weight has always been maintained at 70 kilograms. Is it because I'm wearing training clothes? Izuku stretched out his hand stiffly and scratched his head. Training clothes. As soon as this was said, the other people in Class 1A who were sitting on the side watching the show looked at Toru Hagakure, who quickly waved his hand to explain that. From the moment Izuku took off his clothes, the live broadcast room was blocked by the network administrator. I don't know what happened afterwards. I was still unblocking my phone at that time. I'll believe you for once. How much does it weigh? 1 ton. Izuku spoke to All Might in a low voice. Can you hold on? It should be fine with normal training. I think. Izuku's confidence was quite lacking. All Might sighed for the first time. Why are you fighting so hard? Hey? Why do you fight so hard? Isn't this normal? You said that experts are always ready to fight. Izuku landed on the ground and patted the dust off his body. And, since Alforoni already has such a strong disciple, as your disciple, should I work harder and defeat him? At least I can't lose face as the symbol of peace. Izuku said, smiling and clenching his fists. I want to be a hero like you. You are indeed a strong boy. All Might's smile became more and more obvious. Then I will continue to train. Keep working hard, Midoriya. Izuku suddenly raised his foot. Foot wind blade. Scythe. A wind blade rushed out from Izuku's sliding feet, cutting off all the upright targets like a sickle. Amazing. Izuku actually has such a skill. Izuku-san, you have to pay for destroying public property. Really? Ida, don't lie to me, I just broke a dozen training targets last week. Of course I lied to you. Tisk. Hey, the training here is over, so the only thing left is the battle training, but I don't want to fight with Kiken and Todoroki-kun, fighting with them will kill people. Then I will be your opponent this time. Ashura Sarafu stood up from the ground and pulled the black belt around his waist. Then I'll leave it to Ashura-kun. The 2 walked into the battlefield side by side. Izuku stood opposite Ashura Sarafu. Then I'll ask Ashura-kun to teach me. Izuku said this and stood there, looking like he was waiting for Ashura-kun to attack. Ha! Ashura Sarafu rushed towards Izuku without any hesitation. After all, hesitation will lead to defeat, and decisiveness will lead to defeat. Kick wind blade. Izuku saw Ashura Sarafo rushing over, and he did not hesitate, and rushed up with a kick wind blade. This move can be dodged. I saw Ashura-kun's figure in white flash, dodged the kick wind blade, and continued to rush towards Izuku. Sure enough, anyone can dodge the kick wind blade without changing the move, so the next step is to test my close combat skills. Izuku thought so, and a set of killing moves was completed in an instant. Ashura-kun's eyes condensed. This move seemed to be full of loopholes, but they were all traps, and he could only see the moves and counter them. Bang bang bang, the two people, one green and one white, kept colliding with their hands and feet. I didn't expect Midoriya-san's close combat ability to be so strong. Mineta, who was sitting aside and continuing to eat melons and watch the show, said. I originally thought that Midoriya was our class favorite, and he didn't have much fighting power. Mineta, where did you get that watermelon? I asked for 8 million, do you want a piece? 8 million can actually make fruit. Vegetables and fruits are fine, but meat is not. However, her breasts. Alright, please shut up. Shangming Denki was also unambiguous, and he punched Mineta down directly. Kami Ming, you want to die, don't you? Mineta raised his head and threw the watermelon seeds in his mouth that he hadn't swallowed directly on Shangming's face. Oh, Master Mineta is mad, Shangming said, and he stood up and ran. Mineta followed him and spit out watermelon seeds. The two national treasures were full of energy. After more than 10 minutes, Izuku finally subdued Oshiro. I didn't expect Midoriya's close combat level to be so superb. I admit defeat. Oshiro sighed and bowed his head to admit defeat. It's not a big deal, Ashura-kun, you're pretty good too. Izuku stood up, wiped the blood off his face with his left hand, then stretched out his clean right hand to pull Ashura-kun up. No, if you had used a little more force in that move just now, my neck would have been broken. How did you practice it? I searched online for this, and it said it can strengthen the body. What's it called? I'll learn it sometime. It's called military boxing. Ashura began to search for what military boxing was so awesome. By the way, aren't you going to the healing girl for the scar on your head? Why bother her? The scar is not very deep, it will heal on its own. Izuku took out a bandage from his backpack and skillfully tied the wound. Midoriya, don't you know you look like someone in mourning now? Whatever, I'm so tired now, I really want to take a nap. When will this class end? I don't quite understand, since you're so sleepy, just sleep on my shoulder first. The two of them sat on the ground, Izuku dazed, his head swaying as he leaned on Ashura's shoulder and fell asleep. Just when Ashura was about to turn around to see what was going on with the others, he suddenly felt two extremely aggressive gazes rushing towards him. Ashura smiled helplessly. These two uncles were jealous of him, but it was okay for Todoroki to be jealous of him, but why would Bakugo, who bullies the little angel Izuku every day, be jealous of me? It's time to train. Tisk. That loser. Bakugo's hands kept releasing sparks. He clearly only slept on his shoulder when he was a child. Go to hell. Lost. Another explosion came, and Ashura-kun was a little at a loss. If he was alone, he could dodge it now, but now there was a troublesome guy named Izuku beside him. Annoying. Izuku suddenly opened his eyes, and an inexplicable momentum emerged from Izuku's body. Izuku's figure turned and suddenly appeared in Bakugo's explosion, directly blocking Bakugo's explosion, which stunned everyone. Xiaosheng, are you satisfied with this? The explosion dissipated, and Izuku's clothes were basically burned, and his arms that protected his head had obvious burns. I admit that I can't beat you, okay, I just want to have a good sleep now, I'm so sleepy. Izuku said, and fell forward and lay on the ground. Another me, what's your situation now? Why do you want to hurt yourself? You can obviously dodge it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm so tired now. I just want to have a good sleep. Is it mentally tired? No, it's still overworked. As expected, the speed and intensity of the body training are too high. You fall asleep first, and I'll take care of it later. Then I'll leave it to you. Half an hour later, Izuku opened his eyes and still saw the familiar ceiling.